Happiness, it's what we all seek, yet so many of us feel like it's always just out of reach. For most, it feels like running toward a finish line that keeps moving. We fill our days with distractions, chasing success, approval, and material comforts, only to find that something still feels incomplete. That persistent feeling of almost but not quite weighs us down, leaving us wondering, is happiness even possible? The truth is, the way most of us approach happiness often pulls us further away from it. The more we chase, the more it seems to slip through our grasp. The harder we cling to expectations, the more bitter our disappointments feel. The louder we seek validation, the emptier the applause becomes. Yet there's a different path, a quieter, deeper way of finding joy that doesn't rely on fleeting achievements or others' approval. It's not an easy path. It asks you to look at life in ways that might feel uncomfortable at first, challenging beliefs you've held for years. But when these truths are embraced, they have the power to change everything. Not in some grand, mythical way, but in the little, ordinary moments of everyday life. Here's a story that captures what this journey looks like, one that might feel familiar, no matter where you are in life. Mia and Arjun had been inseparable since childhood. Growing up in the same neighborhood, they spent endless summers together, sharing secrets and dreams beneath the stars. Their friendship was the kind you'd imagine would last forever. As they grew older, their paths began to diverge. Mia moved to the city, diving headfirst into a fast-paced life filled with big ambitions. Her world revolved around deadlines, promotions, and presenting the perfect image to the world. Meanwhile, Arjun stayed closer to home, finding joy in teaching at the local school and spending quiet evenings with his family. Though their lives looked different, they remained in touch through occasional texts, calls, and the rare meetup. Over time, cracks began to form in their once unshakable bond. Mia, driven by her desire to achieve more, often found herself envying Arjun's apparent calm and simplicity. She couldn't understand how he seemed so content with a life that, to her, lacked ambition. Arjun, on the other hand, couldn't help but feel baffled by Mia's endless striving. To him, it seemed like she was running a race with no finish line, constantly chasing something she could never catch. One day, everything shifted. Mia's company announced layoffs, and her name was on the list. It was a devastating blow. For years, her identity had been tied to her job and her achievements. Without them, she felt lost, as though the ground beneath her had disappeared. Arjun's challenge was less visible, but just as profound. One of his favorite students, whom he'd mentored for years, moved away unexpectedly. It left him questioning whether his work had any lasting meaning. For the first time, he wondered if the life he'd built was enough. When they met again, it wasn't over cheerful coffee or a celebratory meal, but in the quiet of a park, their faces heavy with unspoken struggles. Mia, usually so composed, looked tired and uncertain. Arjun, often steady and reflective, seemed distant. For the first time in years, they saw each other's vulnerabilities. Mia was the first to speak. "I feel like I've lost everything," she said quietly. "My job, my confidence, my sense of who I am. I thought I'd be happy if I worked hard enough, but now I'm not sure what happiness even means." Arjun paused before responding. "I've been wondering the same thing," he admitted. "I keep thinking, am I doing enough? Am I making a difference? But maybe that's the problem. I've been measuring my life by expectations instead of just living it." In that moment, something shifted. Instead of judging or comparing, they simply listened to one another. Their shared honesty created a space for something they hadn't felt in a long time: connection. Over the weeks that followed, their conversations became a source of reflection. Both began to uncover truths they hadn't fully faced before. And though these truths weren't always easy, they held the key to a deeper sense of peace. Mia realized how much of her suffering came from seeing herself as the center of everything. She had been carrying the weight of thinking the world owed her something for all her efforts. Letting go of that mindset wasn't easy, but it freed her to see her struggles not as personal failures, but as part of the ebb and flow of life. Arjun came to understand that his quiet need for validation had been holding him back. He had always found joy in teaching, but his constant questioning of whether he was enough had clouded his perspective. By focusing less on what others thought, he rediscovered the meaning in what he was already doing. Both of them began to see that suffering is simply part of the human experience. It's not a punishment or a flaw in the system. It's a thread woven into life's fabric. Instead of resisting it, they started learning to move with it. This shift didn't make their challenges disappear, but it gave them the strength to face them without resentment. Mia, once consumed by a need for approval, began to live more authentically. She no longer built her identity around what others thought. Arjun, who had once felt stuck in his own expectations, learned to let go of the need for every action to have an immediate, visible impact. Together, they embraced the truth that life is always changing, and in that change lies the potential for growth. Through their journey, they realized that happiness isn't about circumstances, it's about perspective. It's not found in what you achieve or acquire, but in how you choose to approach each day. The small moments, watching the sunrise, sharing a laugh, helping someone in need, became their anchors. These weren't grand gestures, but they carried a quiet power that transformed their lives. Their story isn't about extraordinary people or miraculous transformations. It's about ordinary lives, shaped by the willingness to face life's uncomfortable truths. It's about stepping back from the chaos of what we're told will make us happy and discovering a simpler, more grounded way to live. The lessons they learned aren't reserved for a chosen few. They're available to anyone who's ready to let go of what isn't serving them and embrace a new way of seeing the world. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. Life will always have its challenges, its ups and downs. But in the quiet moments, in the space between the noise, there's an opportunity to choose differently, to step away from the chase and toward a life that feels more whole. This isn't about fixing everything or achieving perfection. It's about finding peace in the imperfection, about reconnecting with what really matters, and about discovering that happiness isn't something you find. It's something you create, one small choice at a time. Happiness is something we all strive for, but the way we approach it often leads to disappointment. The root of this struggle lies in the quiet yet persistent voice in our minds that whispers, "What about me?" This voice convinces us that the world should revolve around us, that setbacks are personal, and that our worth depends on how much attention or validation we receive. This voice, familiar as it may be, is not our true self. It is the ego, clinging to the illusion that we are the center of the universe. Yet, when we step away from this illusion, everything begins to change. The ego thrives on the idea of a fixed self, a story we tell ourselves about who we are. It wraps us in roles, achievements, labels, and identities, whispering thoughts like, "I am successful," or "I am not enough." This story becomes the lens through which we interpret everything. It shapes our reactions, our view of others, and our sense of belonging. The Buddhist concept of anatta, or no self, challenges this deeply held belief. It asks us to consider that the self we cling to so tightly is not a solid, unchanging entity, but rather a collection of ever-shifting thoughts, feelings, and experiences. By letting go of this rigid sense of self, we open the door to a profound liberation. Suddenly, not every failure defines us, not every success completes us, and not every opinion about us holds power. The ego also thrives on comparison, measuring our worth against others. It notices someone else's success and quietly asks, "Why not me?" It observes others' flaws and reassures us, "At least I'm better than that." This cycle of comparison creates dissatisfaction because it keeps us tethered to the belief that our value depends on being more or less than someone else. Releasing the grip of the ego breaks this cycle. Others cease to be competitors and instead become fellow travelers, each navigating their own unique path. In this space, judgment fades and compassion grows. Many conflicts arise because of the ego's insistence on making everything personal. A driver cuts us off in traffic, and the ego protests, "How dare they disrespect me?" A friend forgets to call, and the ego concludes, "They must not care about me." These reactions often stem from a sense of self-importance, not reality. Letting go of the ego allows us to approach such moments with curiosity instead of defensiveness. Perhaps the driver was rushing to an emergency, or the friend was caught up in their own worries. By removing ourselves from the center of every situation, we create room for understanding and peace. This perspective doesn't mean silencing your voice or ignoring your needs. It means recognizing that life doesn't revolve around any one person's desires. Life unfolds with a rhythm and flow beyond our control, and accepting this truth can be incredibly freeing. The ego resists this, clinging to the belief that everything should go according to plan. But when we stop fighting reality and start working with it, we discover a calmness that was always there, waiting beneath the noise. Releasing the ego transforms relationships. When we are caught up in our own importance, conversations often become about proving a point, being right, or seeking validation. True connection gets lost in the noise. By stepping away from self-centeredness, we can listen deeply, empathize, and respond with care. This shift doesn't diminish us. It enriches us. Relationships built on mutual understanding and respect bring far greater joy than those tangled in ego-driven needs. The fear of letting go of the ego often stems from the belief that without it, we will lose ourselves. But in truth, the opposite happens. Letting go reveals a deeper connection to everything around us. Our joys, struggles, and experiences are not isolated. They are part of a larger, interconnected whole. This understanding doesn't erase individuality. It enhances it by placing it within a broader context of shared existence. Letting go also changes how we experience suffering. Much of our pain comes from the ego's insistence that life should cater to us. When things don't go as planned, the ego cries out, "This isn't fair." By stepping back from this self-centered view, suffering becomes less isolating. It is no longer seen as a personal punishment, but as a universal experience shared by all. This shift doesn't erase pain, but it softens its sting and reminds us that we are not alone. The concept of impermanence also becomes clearer when we loosen the ego's hold. The ego craves permanence, clinging to what feels good and fearing change. But life is inherently transient. Relationships evolve, circumstances shift, and nothing remains the same. Resisting this truth only creates more suffering. By embracing impermanence, we can find peace in the ever-changing flow of life. Each moment becomes precious, not because it will last forever, but because it won't. Mindfulness plays a vital role in this process. By staying present, we can observe the ego's reactions as they arise. The moment we notice ourselves feeling defensive, slighted, or overly proud, we create an opportunity to pause and reflect. These moments of awareness weaken the ego's grip and open the door to a more grounded and peaceful way of being. Mindfulness teaches us to respond to life with clarity rather than being swept away by the ego's narratives. The practice of letting go also deepens our appreciation for the world around us. Without the constant chatter of self-centered thoughts, the beauty of life becomes more apparent. The kindness of a stranger, the warmth of a sunrise, or the simple pleasure of a shared laugh. All of these moments gain richness and meaning when we step out of our own way. This journey is not about rejecting who we are, but about softening the rigid boundaries that the ego creates. It's about recognizing that the self is not a fixed entity, but a fluid and ever-evolving process. It's about seeing life not as something that happens to us, but as something we are intrinsically a part of. This shift requires patience and compassion. It is not a one-time revelation, but a daily practice of choosing awareness over automatic reactions. As we let go, fear begins to fade. What once felt like losing control now feels like gaining freedom. The walls the ego builds, walls that separate us from others and from life itself, start to crumble. In their place, we find openness, connection, and peace. This isn't a journey toward perfection or enlightenment in some distant sense. It's a journey toward wholeness, toward embracing life as it is, and toward discovering that happiness was never something to chase. It was always waiting, just beyond the grasp of the ego. When we step away from the ego's grip, life begins to reveal itself in a new light. We start seeing our place in the larger flow of existence, realizing that the world doesn't revolve around our desires and fears. This realization brings profound peace, yet it also comes with a sobering truth. Life is not always fair. There is no universal ledger keeping score of who deserves what. Fairness, as we often define it, is a human construct, one that doesn't align with the unpredictable nature of life. It's a hard truth to accept, but within it lies the key to something far greater: freedom from unnecessary suffering. The belief that life should be fair is one of the most persistent sources of pain. It's rooted in the idea that if we do everything right, things should work out in our favor. When life doesn't follow this script, we feel betrayed. A promotion goes to someone less qualified, a kind gesture is met with indifference, or a loved one is lost too soon. These moments strike at the heart of our expectations, leaving us questioning why bad things happen to good people, or why effort isn't always rewarded. But these questions stem from a misunderstanding of the nature of existence. Life is not a transaction, and the universe doesn't operate on a system of rewards and punishments. The Buddhist teaching of dukkha speaks to this universal truth. Dukkha is often translated as suffering, but it encompasses more than pain. It refers to the inherent unsatisfactoriness of life. Everything, no matter how joyful or fulfilling, contains some element of dukkha because it is impermanent, imperfect, and unpredictable. To deny this truth is to set ourselves up for disappointment, but to embrace it is to find liberation. Accepting that life is not always fair doesn't mean resigning ourselves to despair. It means letting go of the resistance that amplifies our suffering. Resistance to life's challenges is what turns pain into prolonged suffering. When something goes wrong, our first instinct is often to fight against it, to insist that it shouldn't be happening. This resistance creates a second layer of suffering, one that is entirely self-inflicted. If we can release this resistance and face reality as it is, we begin to see challenges not as punishments, but as natural parts of life's ebb and flow. This shift doesn't eliminate pain, but it changes how we experience it. Acceptance doesn't mean passivity. It's not about giving up or allowing injustice to thrive. Instead, it's about seeing life clearly and responding from a place of clarity rather than emotional turmoil. When we accept that life is inherently unpredictable and imperfect, we stop clinging to the illusion that we can control everything. This opens up space to act wisely and compassionately, even in the face of adversity. Acceptance is not surrender, it is empowerment. Life's unfairness often brings feelings of anger and resentment, especially when we see others experiencing what we long for. These emotions can be consuming, pulling us into cycles of bitterness that harm us far more than they ease. Letting go of resentment doesn't mean ignoring injustice. It means refusing to let it dictate our inner peace. Resentment keeps us chained to the past, reliving pain over and over. By releasing it, we free ourselves to focus on what we can do in the present. One of the most challenging aspects of embracing dukkha is accepting that suffering is universal. When we are in pain, it's easy to feel isolated, as though no one else could possibly understand what we're going through. But suffering is a shared experience, one that connects us to every other human being. This perspective doesn't diminish our pain, it places it within a broader context. By recognizing the universality of suffering, we cultivate compassion for ourselves and for others. We see that we are not alone and that our struggles are part of the human condition. There is a quiet strength in accepting life as it is, rather than as we wish it to be. This doesn't mean we stop striving for better. On the contrary, it means we approach life's challenges with a sense of purpose and resilience, rather than frustration and despair. Acceptance allows us to face difficulties head-on, without the added burden of wishing they weren't there. It's a mindset that transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth. Unfairness often feels most acute in relationships. We expect others to treat us as we treat them, to meet our efforts with equal energy. When this doesn't happen, it can feel deeply personal. But relationships, like life, are not transactional. People bring their own histories, struggles, and limitations to every interaction. By letting go of the expectation that relationships should always be fair, we create room for genuine connection. We learn to give without demanding, to forgive without keeping score, and to love without conditions. This doesn't mean accepting mistreatment or lowering our standards. Boundaries remain essential. But when we release the idea that fairness is the foundation of all relationships, we stop measuring our worth by how others treat us. We begin to see relationships as opportunities to grow, to learn, and to share, rather than as tests of how much we are valued. Life's unfairness can also be a powerful teacher. It forces us to confront our attachments, our expectations, and our assumptions about what we deserve. These confrontations are uncomfortable, but they hold the potential for profound growth. Every disappointment, every loss, and every failure is an invitation to look inward, to examine where we're holding on too tightly, and to ask what truly matters. This introspection leads to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world. Embracing dukkha doesn't mean seeking out suffering or glorifying pain. It means recognizing that life's challenges are not obstacles to happiness, but integral parts of it. Joy and sorrow, success and failure, gain and loss. All of these are woven together in the fabric of existence. To live fully is to accept all of it, not just the parts we prefer. This acceptance brings a profound sense of peace. When we stop fighting against life's inherent imperfections, we free up energy that can be directed toward more meaningful pursuits. Instead of clinging to what we think should be, we open ourselves to what is. This shift allows us to experience life more fully, with all its messiness and beauty. The path of acceptance is not an easy one. It requires us to let go of deeply ingrained beliefs about fairness, control, and deservingness. It asks us to face our pain without turning away, to sit with discomfort without trying to escape it. But in doing so, we discover a strength we didn't know we had. We realize that we are capable of facing life's challenges with grace and resilience. Life's unfairness also teaches us gratitude. When we stop taking fairness for granted, we begin to see every act of kindness, every moment of joy, and every bit of good fortune as a gift rather than an entitlement. Gratitude doesn't erase pain, but it softens its edges. It reminds us that even in the midst of hardship, there is still beauty to be found. Accepting that life is not always fair is not about giving up hope or settling for less. It's about finding freedom in the midst of imperfection. It's about living with open eyes and an open heart, embracing the fullness of life rather than clinging to an idealized version of it. This acceptance doesn't make life easier, but it makes it richer, more meaningful, and ultimately more peaceful. It allows us to stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" In that question lies the key to moving forward, not with resistance, but with grace. Accepting that life is not always fair is a profound act of courage. It teaches us to release expectations and embrace reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. Yet, even as we find peace with the unpredictability of life, another challenge waits: the deep and often hidden craving for approval. This need to be liked, admired, and validated shapes so much of what we do. It dictates our choices, influences our relationships, and without us realizing, binds us to a cycle of insecurity. Letting go of this craving is not about rejecting connection, but about freeing yourself to live authentically. The need for approval is deeply ingrained in human nature. From childhood, we learn to seek praise from parents, teachers, and peers. Over time, this need evolves into a powerful force that governs how we act, speak, and present ourselves. It's why we hesitate to voice unpopular opinions, why we fear rejection, and why the thought of being disliked can feel unbearable. The craving for approval is often disguised as a desire to connect, but in truth, it is a barrier to genuine relationships. When we prioritize being liked over being authentic, we lose sight of who we really are. The quest for external validation creates a constant tension. It compels us to mold ourselves into versions we think others will accept, even if it means compromising our values or suppressing our true feelings. This performance drains us, leaving us perpetually anxious about how we're perceived. The approval we receive feels hollow because it's directed at a facade, not at who we truly are. By detaching from the need for validation, we break free from this exhausting cycle and open the door to real connection. Letting go of craving approval doesn't mean rejecting relationships or becoming indifferent to others' opinions. It means shifting the foundation of your self-worth from external to internal. When your sense of value comes from within, you're no longer at the mercy of others' judgments. Their praise or criticism may still affect you, but it won't define you. This inner strength allows you to navigate relationships with greater confidence and clarity. Craving approval often stems from fear of rejection, judgment, or loneliness. These fears keep us tethered to the idea that we need others' acceptance to feel complete. But rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of compatibility. Not everyone will resonate with who you are, and that's okay. When you let go of the need for universal approval, you free yourself to connect with those who truly align with your values and energy. Authenticity is one of the most powerful byproducts of releasing the need for validation. When you stop tailoring your actions to gain approval, you start living in alignment with your true self. This authenticity attracts people who appreciate you for who you are, not for who you're pretending to be. Relationships built on authenticity are more meaningful and fulfilling because they are rooted in mutual respect and understanding. The process of detaching from approval begins with self-awareness. Pay attention to the moments when you feel compelled to seek validation. Notice how it shapes your words and actions. This awareness is not about judgment, but about understanding the patterns that drive your behavior. Once you recognize these patterns, you can begin to challenge them. Ask yourself why others' opinions carry so much weight. Often you'll find that the answer lies in old insecurities or learned beliefs that no longer serve you. Another key to letting go of craving approval is embracing vulnerability. When you allow yourself to be seen as you are, imperfections and all, you create space for deeper connections. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's the courage to show up authentically, even when there's a risk of rejection. Paradoxically, this openness often inspires trust and admiration because it resonates with the shared humanity in all of us. Craving approval also limits your growth. When you focus on pleasing others, you avoid risks and challenges that might invite criticism. But growth requires stepping outside your comfort zone, making mistakes, and learning from them. By detaching from the need for validation, you give yourself permission to explore, experiment, and evolve without fear of what others might think. Releasing the need for approval involves re-examining your relationships. Some connections may be built entirely on the pursuit of validation, and these can feel draining or unbalanced. As you shift away from seeking approval, you may find that some relationships naturally fade. While this can be painful, it creates space for connections that are more genuine and aligned with who you are becoming. This shift also extends to how you give approval. When you no longer crave validation, you're less likely to offer it as a tool for manipulation or control. Instead, your appreciation becomes a sincere expression of care and support. This shift enriches your interactions and deepens your bonds with others. Letting go of craving approval doesn't mean becoming impervious to feedback. Constructive criticism is valuable because it helps you grow and refine your understanding of yourself. The difference is that when you're not attached to others' approval, you can discern which feedback is helpful and which is not. You can listen without internalizing every comment as a measure of your worth. The freedom that comes from releasing the need for approval is transformative. You begin to live with greater authenticity, courage, and joy. Your relationships improve because they are no longer based on performance, but on genuine connection. You discover that your worth is not something that others bestow upon you. It is something that already exists within you. As you let go of craving approval, you also find greater peace in disagreement. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself or win others over. This doesn't mean becoming passive or indifferent. It means choosing your battles wisely and recognizing that some differences are not meant to be resolved. This acceptance allows you to focus on what truly matters and to invest your energy in relationships and pursuits that align with your values. The journey of detaching from external validation is not about isolating yourself or rejecting community. It's about creating a solid foundation of self-worth so that your connections with others are not driven by need, but by choice. It's about embracing the freedom to be yourself and allowing others the same freedom. This mutual respect fosters deeper, more meaningful interactions. Letting go of the need for approval is a process, one that requires patience and compassion. It's not about flipping a switch, but about gradually shifting your perspective and habits. Each step you take toward detachment brings you closer to a life of greater authenticity, peace, and connection. It allows you to reclaim your power and live in alignment with your true self. Letting go of the need for approval unlocks a profound sense of freedom. It allows relationships to flourish authentically and creates space for personal growth unburdened by external judgment. Yet, as you step into this newfound authenticity, another truth comes into sharp focus. Everything is subject to change. Nothing remains fixed or permanent. This truth, though uncomfortable, carries immense power. It challenges us to release attachment and embrace the flow of life. When we stop clinging to what is slipping away or resisting what is unfolding, we open the door to transformation and joy. The truth of impermanence, known in Buddhism as anicca, is one of the most fundamental realities of existence. It touches every part of life, our relationships, our achievements, and even the bodies we inhabit. At first glance, this truth can feel unsettling. The idea that everything we hold dear will eventually change or fade can stir a deep sense of loss. But within this impermanence lies a gift, the opportunity to grow, adapt, and discover a profound connection to the present moment. Clinging to the illusion of permanence creates unnecessary suffering. When we resist the natural flow of change, we expend enormous energy trying to hold on to what cannot be held. We cling to relationships, possessions, and identities, hoping they will provide lasting security or happiness. Yet, the more tightly we hold on, the more painful it becomes when life inevitably shifts. By accepting the impermanent nature of all things, we release ourselves from this futile struggle and find a sense of peace in the ever-changing rhythm of life. Impermanence is not merely about loss, it is also about renewal. Every ending carries within it the seed of a beginning. When one chapter closes, another opens. This cycle is evident everywhere, in the changing seasons, the growth of a child, or the shifting dynamics of a friendship. When we resist this natural flow, we miss the beauty of what is unfolding. By embracing impermanence, we learn to see change not as an enemy, but as an ally in our journey of growth. The fear of change often stems from a desire for control. We believe that if we can keep things the same, we can protect ourselves from pain or uncertainty. But control is an illusion. Life moves forward, regardless of our efforts to hold it still. This realization is not a call to despair, but an invitation to surrender. Surrendering to the flow of life doesn't mean giving up. It means engaging with what is, rather than struggling against it. It means trusting that, even in the face of uncertainty, there is a deeper wisdom at work. Embracing impermanence deepens our appreciation for the present moment. When we accept that nothing lasts forever, we begin to see the beauty in what is here now. A conversation with a loved one, the warmth of the sun on your skin, or the taste of a favorite meal. All of these become more vivid when we understand their fleeting nature. This awareness transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary gifts, reminding us to savor life as it unfolds. Impermanence also teaches us resilience. When we face loss or hardship, the understanding that this too shall pass provides a source of strength. It reminds us that pain, like joy, is temporary. This perspective doesn't diminish the weight of our struggles, but it gives us the courage to move through them. It helps us to trust that even in the darkest moments, there is the potential for light to return. Our attachment to permanence often extends to our sense of identity. We define ourselves by roles, achievements, or relationships, believing they provide a stable foundation. But identities, like everything else, are fluid. When we cling to a fixed sense of self, we limit our ability to grow and evolve. By embracing the impermanence of who we are, we open ourselves to new possibilities. We allow ourselves to change, to learn, and to become more than we ever thought possible. The practice of embracing impermanence requires mindfulness. It asks us to stay present with what is, rather than getting lost in what was or what might be. Mindfulness helps us navigate the discomfort of change by grounding us in the here and now. It allows us to witness the unfolding of life without getting swept away by fear or resistance. This practice is not about detachment, but about engagement, engaging fully with each moment, knowing that it will never come again. Impermanence also calls us to re-evaluate our priorities. When we accept that our time is finite, we become more intentional about how we spend it. We focus less on accumulating and more on experiencing. We invest in relationships that nourish us and let go of those that drain us. We pursue what truly matters, rather than what society tells us should matter. This clarity brings a sense of purpose and alignment that transcends the temporary nature of our pursuits. The fear of impermanence often leads to a desire for guarantees. We want assurances that our relationships will last, that our efforts will pay off, or that our loved ones will always be safe. But life offers no such guarantees. What it offers instead is the opportunity to love fully, to give generously, and to live wholeheartedly, even in the face of uncertainty. When we embrace this, we find a freedom that is not dependent on outcomes, but rooted in the richness of the journey itself. Change is often accompanied by grief, as we let go of what was. This grief is not a sign of weakness, but of love. It reflects our deep connection to what has been part of our lives. By allowing ourselves to feel this grief, rather than pushing it away, we honor the impermanence of what we've lost. We acknowledge its importance and create space for healing and renewal. Embracing impermanence doesn't mean becoming indifferent or detached. It means engaging with life more fully, knowing that its transience makes it all the more precious. It means loving deeply, even though love involves risk. It means pursuing dreams, even though success is not guaranteed. It means showing up for life, even when it feels uncertain or overwhelming. Impermanence also invites us to cultivate gratitude. When we recognize that nothing is permanent, we begin to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. We become grateful for the people, experiences, and opportunities that come into our lives, even if only for a moment. Gratitude doesn't erase the pain of loss, but it helps us hold it alongside the joy of what has been. The truth of impermanence challenges us to release attachment, not just to things or people, but to outcomes and expectations. Attachment creates tension because it ties our happiness to something outside of ourselves. When we release this attachment, we find a sense of freedom that is not dependent on external circumstances. This doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we care without clinging. We love without possessing. We strive without obsessing. This balance allows us to engage with life fully, without being consumed by it. Through the lens of impermanence, we begin to see change as a teacher. Every transition, whether joyful or painful, holds lessons for those willing to learn. Loss teaches us about resilience. Uncertainty teaches us about trust. Endings teach us about new beginnings. When we approach change with curiosity rather than fear, we unlock its transformative power. The practice of embracing impermanence is not about becoming indifferent or stoic. It's about living with open eyes and an open heart. It's about finding beauty in the fleeting nature of life, knowing that its transience makes it all the more meaningful. It's about showing up for each moment, fully present and fully alive, because this moment, like all others, will pass. And in its passing, it leaves behind the gift of growth, the gift of connection, and the gift of being truly alive. Embracing impermanence teaches us to flow with life, to release what no longer serves us, and to find beauty in the transient nature of every moment. But as life shifts and changes, another profound truth emerges. Happiness is not something handed to us by circumstances. It is not a treasure we stumble upon or a gift bestowed by fate. Happiness is a choice, a deliberate act of cultivating contentment through how we perceive the world and how we engage with it. Choosing happiness requires a deep shift in perspective. It begins with right view, a concept in Buddhism that emphasizes seeing life clearly and understanding its true nature. Right view reminds us that suffering arises not from the external world, but from how we interpret and react to it. When we view challenges as insurmountable, they become heavy burdens. When we see them as opportunities for growth, they become stepping stones. This shift in perspective doesn't erase difficulty, but transforms how we approach it. The choice to be happy is grounded in recognizing what we can and cannot control. So often, we tether our happiness to external events, believing that if only circumstances were different, we would finally feel content. But life is unpredictable, and external conditions are rarely under our control. By focusing on our internal responses instead of external situations, we reclaim our power. This focus allows us to navigate life's ups and downs with greater resilience and clarity. Right action complements right view by emphasizing the importance of how we respond to life's circumstances. It's not enough to see clearly. We must also act in ways that align with our values and promote well-being. Happiness is cultivated through small, intentional acts, choosing kindness over anger, gratitude over entitlement, and patience over frustration. These choices, though simple, create a ripple effect that transforms our inner world. Choosing happiness means letting go of the illusion that life must be perfect for us to be content. Perfection is an unattainable standard that keeps us trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction. Instead, we can choose to find joy in the imperfect, the ordinary, and the mundane. A cup of tea shared with a friend, the warmth of sunlight on your face, or the sound of laughter. These moments are fleeting, yet they hold immense beauty when we allow ourselves to be present with them. Contentment arises when we learn to appreciate what we have, rather than constantly striving for more. This doesn't mean we stop pursuing goals or dreams. It means we do so from a place of gratitude rather than lack. Gratitude shifts our focus from what is missing to what is already abundant. It reminds us that happiness is not about having everything, but about appreciating what we have. One of the most practical ways to choose happiness is through mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches us to anchor ourselves in the present moment, where happiness is always accessible. When our minds wander to regrets about the past or worries about the future, we lose touch with the here and now. By bringing our attention back to the present, we reconnect with the simple joys and profound peace that exist in every moment. Happiness also grows through connection with ourselves, with others, and with the world around us. When we nurture relationships built on authenticity and mutual respect, we create a sense of belonging that enriches our lives. Acts of kindness and service further deepen this connection. Helping others not only uplifts them, but also fills us with a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Letting go of comparison is another key to choosing happiness. The habit of comparing ourselves to others fuels envy and diminishes our appreciation for our own lives. By focusing on our unique journey, we free ourselves from the endless cycle of measuring up. This shift allows us to celebrate our successes, learn from our challenges, and find contentment in our progress. Happiness is not the absence of difficulty, but the ability to navigate it with grace. This means accepting that challenges are a natural part of life and using them as opportunities to grow. When we view difficulties as teachers rather than obstacles, we transform adversity into resilience. This resilience becomes a foundation upon which lasting happiness is built. Choosing happiness requires us to align our actions with our values. When our actions reflect what truly matters to us, we experience a sense of harmony and fulfillment. This alignment might mean prioritizing time with loved ones, pursuing meaningful work, or taking care of our health. It's not about grand gestures, but about consistent, intentional choices that bring us closer to what we value most. Happiness also flourishes when we release the need for external validation. When our sense of worth depends on others' opinions, we hand over our power. True contentment comes from knowing that we are enough, just as we are. This self-acceptance creates a stable foundation for happiness that isn't shaken by external circumstances. Forgiveness is another powerful tool for cultivating happiness. Holding on to resentment and anger weighs us down, keeping us tied to past pain. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning harm, but choosing to free ourselves from its grip. By letting go of what no longer serves us, we create space for peace and joy. Happiness is a practice, not a destination. It's cultivated through daily habits and choices. Setting intentions each morning, reflecting on moments of gratitude each evening, and staying present throughout the day are small but powerful practices that nurture contentment. Over time, these practices become second nature, creating a life rooted in joy and resilience. A key element of choosing happiness is learning to let go of expectations. Expectations often lead to disappointment because they set rigid standards for how life should unfold. When we release these expectations, we open ourselves to the possibility of being surprised by joy. This doesn't mean lowering our standards, but approaching life with curiosity and openness. Happiness also grows through simplicity. In a world that often equates success with busyness and accumulation, simplicity offers a refreshing alternative. By decluttering our lives, physically, mentally, and emotionally, we create space for what truly matters. Simplicity allows us to focus on experiences over possessions, quality over quantity, and presence over distraction. Ultimately, choosing happiness means taking responsibility for our well-being. It's recognizing that while we can't control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond. This responsibility is not a burden but a gift. It empowers us to shape our lives in ways that align with our values, aspirations, and deepest joys. Happiness is not something we find outside of ourselves. It is something we cultivate within. It grows through intentional choices, meaningful connections, and a deep appreciation for the present moment. It is not handed to us by circumstances, but created by how we perceive and engage with the world. By choosing happiness, we reclaim our power and embrace life with open hearts and open minds. Happiness, as a choice, rests on understanding that it is not given by external circumstances, but cultivated from within. Yet, even as we take steps to ground ourselves in contentment, a deeper truth must be confronted. Much of our suffering stems from clinging to desires. Whether it is a longing for material possessions, emotional validation, or an imagined future, craving becomes a relentless cycle that traps us in dissatisfaction. To release ourselves from this cycle is to transform how we experience life, moving from a mindset of scarcity to one of profound abundance and peace. At the heart of craving is the belief that something outside of ourselves will complete us. It whispers that we will finally be happy when we achieve the next milestone, acquire the next object, or secure someone's love. This belief is compelling because it offers a sense of control, a roadmap to happiness. Yet, the satisfaction from fulfilling a desire is fleeting. As soon as one craving is met, another arises, creating an endless loop of wanting and striving. Craving, or tanha in Buddhist teachings, goes beyond mere desire. It is not the act of wanting something, but the clinging to that want, the inability to let go when the object of our desire is out of reach. This attachment creates a gap between what is and what we wish for, a gap filled with frustration, anxiety, and sadness. The tighter we hold onto our desires, the more we suffer when they slip through our fingers, as all things eventually do. Releasing attachment does not mean giving up on ambition, goals, or relationships. It means engaging with them without letting them define our worth or happiness. This shift allows us to pursue what matters with clarity and freedom, unburdened by the fear of loss or failure. When we no longer cling to the outcome, we can fully immerse ourselves in the process, finding joy in the journey rather than placing all our hopes on the destination. Material desires often feel like the easiest to understand, yet they hold a powerful sway over us. The allure of possessions, whether it's the newest gadget, a luxurious home, or a symbol of status, promises fulfillment. But material things are impermanent, and their ability to bring lasting happiness is limited. The excitement of acquiring something new fades quickly, leaving us chasing the next shiny object. By shifting our focus from accumulation to appreciation, we free ourselves from this cycle. Gratitude for what we already have creates a sense of sufficiency that no purchase can replicate. Emotional desires, such as craving love, approval, or recognition, are even more complex. These desires tap into our deep-seated need for connection and belonging. Yet, when we attach our happiness to another person's actions or opinions, we hand over our power. Relationships become strained when driven by unspoken expectations, and we feel empty when those expectations are not met. Letting go of this attachment allows us to love and connect from a place of abundance rather than need. We begin to see relationships as spaces for mutual growth and support, rather than as sources of validation. The attachment to an imagined future is another form of craving that quietly erodes our peace. We place our happiness on hold, waiting for a perfect scenario to materialize. We tell ourselves, "I'll be happy when," and in doing so, we miss the beauty of the present. Letting go of this fixation doesn't mean abandoning hope or ambition. It means rooting ourselves in the now, appreciating what life offers in this moment while remaining open to what may come. This balance creates a sense of contentment that isn't reliant on uncertain outcomes. Craving also manifests as an aversion to discomfort. We cling to pleasure and avoid pain, seeking to control our experiences to minimize suffering. Yet, life's challenges are unavoidable, and resisting them only deepens our struggle. By facing discomfort with openness and curiosity, we discover resilience and wisdom. We learn that pain, like joy, is temporary and that it often carries lessons that help us grow. Releasing the need to control every aspect of our lives allows us to flow with life's natural rhythms, finding peace even amid uncertainty. Releasing attachment requires self-awareness and intentionality. The first step is recognizing when craving arises. This might be a longing for something we don't have, or a fear of losing something we value. By pausing and observing these feelings without judgment, we begin to loosen their grip. Mindfulness helps us see cravings for what they are, temporary thoughts and emotions, not defining truths. This awareness creates space to choose how we respond. Cultivating detachment doesn't mean becoming indifferent or unfeeling. It's about engaging with life fully while holding it lightly. This perspective allows us to savor joys without clinging to them and to face challenges without being consumed by them. It's a practice of balance, of finding joy in the moment while knowing that nothing lasts forever. This balance brings a profound sense of freedom and peace. One way to practice detachment is by focusing on what we can give rather than what we can get. When we shift our attention from self-centered desires to acts of kindness and generosity, we break the cycle of craving. Helping others not only benefits them, but also fills us with a sense of purpose and connection. It reminds us that our true fulfillment lies not in acquiring, but in sharing. Releasing attachment also invites us to simplify our lives. The more we accumulate, whether it's possessions, commitments, or expectations, the heavier our burdens become. Simplifying doesn't mean giving up everything. It means prioritizing what truly matters. This clarity creates space for experiences, relationships, and practices that bring genuine joy and fulfillment. Craving often stems from a fear of lack, the belief that we are not enough or that life is not enough as it is. This fear drives us to seek external solutions to internal insecurities. By addressing this fear with compassion and self-acceptance, we begin to heal the root of craving. We learn to trust that we are whole, that our worth is inherent, and that life's abundance is found not in having more, but in appreciating what already exists. The process of releasing craving is not a one-time event, but an ongoing practice. It requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to confront the parts of ourselves that resist letting go. Each moment of awareness, each small step toward detachment, strengthens our ability to live with greater freedom and peace. Over time, we discover that life's richness is not in what we hold on to, but in what we are willing to release. In letting go, we find that we already have everything we need. Releasing attachment to desires opens the door to freedom, allowing us to experience life with a sense of wholeness that is not tied to what we have or achieve. Yet, even as we let go of cravings, another subtle source of suffering remains: our expectations. Expectations shape how we perceive and interact with the world, quietly dictating how we believe things should unfold. When reality doesn't align with these mental blueprints, disappointment, frustration, and resentment often follow. Letting go of expectations is not about abandoning hope or ambition. It is about freeing ourselves from the rigidity that limits our peace and fulfillment. Expectations create a framework through which we attempt to control life's uncertainties. We expect others to act a certain way, situations to unfold according to our plans, and circumstances to deliver the outcomes we desire. These mental constructs give us a sense of stability, but they are inherently fragile. Life is dynamic, unpredictable, and complex, and reality rarely conforms perfectly to what we imagine. The clash between expectation and reality generates tension, leaving us caught in cycles of dissatisfaction. Letting go of expectations begins with awareness. Often, we hold expectations so tightly that we fail to recognize them for what they are: assumptions, not guarantees. By observing our thoughts and reactions, we can start to identify the expectations we carry. This process isn't about judgment, but about curiosity. Why do we expect certain outcomes? What beliefs fuel these expectations? This self-awareness is the first step toward releasing the grip of unmet assumptions. One of the most significant ways expectations shape our lives is through relationships. We expect loved ones to understand our needs, colleagues to appreciate our contributions, and strangers to treat us with courtesy. When these expectations aren't met, it feels personal, as though something has been taken from us. But people bring their own histories, struggles, and perspectives to every interaction. By letting go of rigid expectations, we create space for genuine connection. We stop demanding that others fit into our mold and start appreciating them for who they truly are. The shift of see may me lowering our standards. It means approaching relationships with openness and flexibility, recognizing that others are not responsible for meeting every need or fulfilling every hope. This perspective allows us to engage with others from a place of mutual respect and understanding, rather than disappointment or entitlement. Expectations also heavily influence how we view ourselves. We create narratives about who we should be, what we should achieve, and how we should feel. These self-imposed expectations can be motivating, but they often become a source of pressure and self-criticism. When we fail to meet them, we feel inadequate or unworthy. Letting go of these rigid standards doesn't mean giving up on growth. It means embracing our humanity. It means allowing ourselves to evolve at our own pace and finding contentment in the journey, not just the destination. In many ways, expectations are a form of attachment. We cling to a specific idea of how life should unfold, and when it doesn't, we suffer. Releasing expectations requires a willingness to trust in life's unpredictability. This trust doesn't erase challenges or disappointments, but it changes how we experience them. Instead of resisting reality, we learn to move with it, finding opportunities for growth and discovery in even the most unexpected outcomes. Letting go of expectations also deepens our ability to live in the present. When we are consumed by what we think should happen, we miss what is actually happening. We overlook the beauty and richness of the moment because our attention is fixed on an imagined future. By releasing these mental constructs, we free ourselves to engage fully with the now. This presence brings a sense of peace and gratitude that transcends the uncertainty of what lies ahead. Expectations often lead to disappointment because they are based on the illusion of control. We believe that if we plan carefully enough, work hard enough, or wish strongly enough, we can dictate how life unfolds. But control is an illusion, and life often defies even our best-laid plans. Letting go of expectations doesn't mean abandoning effort. It means approaching life with a sense of humility and acceptance. It means doing our best without becoming attached to the outcome. This practice of detachment extends to our goals and ambitions. Setting goals is important, but when we become overly fixated on achieving them, we lose sight of the process. The journey becomes a means to an end rather than a source of joy and learning. By releasing the expectation of a specific outcome, we create space to appreciate the effort, growth, and experiences that come with pursuing our dreams. This shift transforms ambition from a source of stress to a source of fulfillment. Another area where expectations often create tension is in how we approach change. We expect life to remain stable, but change is inevitable. By clinging to the expectation of permanence, we resist the natural flow of life, creating unnecessary suffering. Letting go of these expectations allows us to embrace change as an opportunity rather than a threat. It helps us see that every ending carries the seed of a new beginning, and every challenge is an invitation to grow. Letting go of expectations also fosters resilience. When we release the need for life to conform to our plans, we become more adaptable. Disappointments and setbacks still occur, but they no longer define our happiness or sense of self. Instead, they become moments of reflection and growth, opportunities to recalibrate and move forward with greater clarity and strength. This practice doesn't mean giving up on hope or becoming indifferent. Hope is a powerful force that inspires and motivates us. The difference is that hope is rooted in possibility, while expectations demand certainty. By focusing on hope rather than rigid assumptions, we remain open to life's surprises and adaptable in the face of its challenges. Releasing expectations also deepens our sense of gratitude. When we stop fixating on what we think should happen, we begin to appreciate what is. Gratitude shifts our perspective from lack to abundance, reminding us of the gifts and opportunities that already exist in our lives. This doesn't mean ignoring difficulties, but holding them alongside the beauty and joy that are also present. Letting go of expectations is not about lowering standards or abandoning aspirations. It's about approaching life with a sense of openness and flexibility, recognizing that reality is often more complex and nuanced than our mental constructs. This openness allows us to engage with life fully, to learn from its twists and turns, and to find peace in its unpredictability. The freedom that comes from releasing expectations is transformative. It allows us to approach relationships, goals, and challenges with greater ease and clarity. It creates space for joy, gratitude, and connection, unburdened by the weight of unmet assumptions. It reminds us that while we cannot control life's outcomes, we can choose how we respond to them. This choice, rooted in detachment, is where true peace and fulfillment are found. Releasing expectations allows life to unfold naturally, freeing us from the weight of rigid assumptions and creating space for greater peace. Yet, Even as we learn to let go of what might happen, there is a deeper truth to embrace. The only reality we ever truly have is the present moment. The past is gone, the future is uncertain, and all that remains is the now. Living fully in this moment is the key to unlocking joy, clarity, and a profound sense of connection. The present moment often slips away unnoticed, lost in the busyness of our thoughts and distractions. We replay past conversations, worrying about what was said or left unsaid. We anticipate future outcomes, imagining scenarios that may never come to pass. In doing so, we rob ourselves of the richness and beauty of the here and now. Mindfulness, or sati, offers a way back. It invites us to pause, to breathe, and to become fully aware of what is happening in this moment without judgment or distraction. Living in the present is not about ignoring the past or avoiding the future. It's about anchoring ourselves in the reality of now, where life actually happens. The past is a memory, shaped by perception and often colored by emotion. The future is a possibility, uncertain and unknowable. The present is the only space where we can truly act, experience, and connect. By cultivating mindfulness, we reclaim this space and begin to see the world and ourselves with greater clarity. One of the most transformative aspects of mindfulness is its ability to deepen our awareness of simple joys. The warmth of sunlight, the sound of a loved one's laughter, the taste of a favorite meal. These moments often go unnoticed when our minds are elsewhere. Mindfulness invites us to fully engage with these experiences, savoring them without distraction. This presence amplifies their richness, turning ordinary moments into extraordinary gifts. Mindfulness also transforms how we approach challenges. When we face difficulties, our instinct is often to dwell on how things should be different or to worry about what might happen next. This mental spiral intensifies our suffering, pulling us further from the present. By staying grounded in the now, we can confront challenges with greater calm and clarity. We see the situation as it is, rather than through the lens of fear or frustration. This perspective allows us to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. Practicing mindfulness doesn't mean forcing the mind to be still or empty. It means observing thoughts, feelings, and sensations as they arise, without clinging to them or pushing them away. This practice cultivates a sense of spaciousness, where we are no longer caught up in the constant stream of mental chatter. We begin to see thoughts for what they are: temporary, fleeting, and often disconnected from reality. This awareness breaks their hold on us, creating room for peace and clarity. Mindfulness is not limited to meditation. It can be woven into every aspect of daily life. Whether you're walking, eating, or having a conversation, mindfulness invites you to be fully present. This presence deepens your connection to the activity and to those around you. It allows you to listen more attentively, speak more thoughtfully, and act more intentionally. Over time, mindfulness becomes a way of living, enriching even the simplest moments. One of the greatest gifts of mindfulness is its ability to quiet the mind. In a world filled with noise and distraction, the ability to pause and focus on the present is a rare and precious skill. This quietness doesn't mean silence. It means being attuned to what truly matters. It means noticing the subtle beauty of life, the kindness of a stranger, or the stillness of a quiet moment. This awareness creates a sense of gratitude and wonder that transcends the chaos of daily life. Mindfulness also helps us break free from the grip of negative emotions. When we feel anger, sadness, or fear, our instinct is often to resist or suppress these feelings. But resistance only strengthens their hold. Mindfulness teaches us to approach emotions with curiosity and compassion, allowing them to arise and pass without judgment. This approach diffuses their intensity and reveals the underlying thoughts and beliefs that fuel them. By understanding these patterns, we gain the freedom to choose how we respond. The practice of mindfulness also deepens our sense of connection to others. When we are fully present, we can truly see and hear those around us. We notice their expressions, their tone, and their emotions, creating a space for empathy and understanding. This presence fosters deeper, more meaningful relationships, where both parties feel valued and heard. Mindfulness is also a powerful tool for managing stress. Much of our stress comes from worrying about what might happen or regretting what has already occurred. These thoughts pull us out of the present, creating a sense of unease that feeds on itself. By returning to the here and now, we interrupt this cycle. We ground ourselves in what is real and tangible, finding stability even in the midst of uncertainty. The journey of mindfulness is not about achieving perfection, but about cultivating awareness. There will be moments when the mind wanders, when distractions pull us away, or when emotions feel overwhelming. These moments are not failures, but opportunities to practice. Each time we notice and gently return to the present, we strengthen our ability to stay grounded. Over time, this practice becomes a source of resilience and peace. Mindfulness also invites us to embrace impermanence. Each moment is unique, fleeting, and unrepeatable. By being present, we honor the transient nature of life, savoring its beauty without clinging to it. This perspective allows us to let go of what has passed and to approach the future with openness and curiosity. It reminds us that life is not a series of destinations, but a continuous flow of experiences. The practice of mindfulness is both simple and profound. It doesn't require special tools or settings, only a willingness to be present. Start with small moments. Pause before a meal to notice its colors and smells. Take a few deep breaths before responding to a difficult situation, or focus on the sensation of your feet on the ground as you walk. These practices, though small, create a foundation for deeper awareness and connection. Living in the present doesn't mean ignoring responsibilities or abandoning plans. It means approaching them with a sense of presence and purpose, fully engaging with what is in front of you. This presence enhances your focus, creativity, and decision-making, allowing you to navigate life with greater ease and effectiveness. Mindfulness transforms how we experience time. When we are fully present, time seems to slow down. Moments stretch out, rich with detail and meaning. This shift helps us appreciate life's fullness, even in its simplest forms. It reminds us that joy is not something to be chased, but something to be found right here, in the now. The practice of mindfulness is a lifelong journey. It requires patience, commitment, and self-compassion, but its rewards are immeasurable. By anchoring ourselves in the present, we discover a depth of peace and joy that is not dependent on circumstances. We reconnect with the world, with others, and with ourselves in ways that are profound and transformative. Mindfulness is not just a practice, it is a way of being, a path to living fully and freely in the only moment we ever truly have, now. Living fully in the present moment reveals a depth of joy and clarity often hidden by the noise of distraction. It teaches us to appreciate the now, to let go of regrets and worries, and to reconnect with what truly matters. Yet, while mindfulness anchors us, achieving lasting happiness requires more than presence. It demands discipline. Happiness, as profound and fulfilling as it is not a passive state. It arises from deliberate actions, choices, and commitments. The Eightfold Path, a cornerstone of Buddhist practice, offers a practical guide for cultivating this disciplined approach to happiness. Happiness begins with right view, the understanding that life's challenges are inevitable but not insurmountable. This perspective shifts our focus from blaming external circumstances to recognizing the power we hold in shaping our reactions. Right view calls for clarity, seeing things as they truly are, rather than through the lens of desires or fears. This clarity fosters acceptance, helping us approach life with wisdom and balance. By aligning our thoughts with reality, we reduce the friction between expectations and experience, paving the way for a more peaceful existence. Right intention follows, urging us to approach life with purpose and sincerity. Our intentions shape our actions, and when they are rooted in kindness, compassion, and a commitment to growth, they create a foundation for enduring happiness. Right intention isn't about grand gestures. It's about small, consistent efforts to align our values with how we live each day. This discipline of intention keeps us grounded, ensuring that our choices reflect our deepest aspirations rather than fleeting impulses. Right speech emphasizes the power of words. What we say affects not only others, but also our inner peace. Words spoken with care and truthfulness build trust, strengthen relationships, and create harmony. On the other hand, careless or harmful speech breeds conflict and regret. Practicing right speech requires mindfulness, pausing before speaking, choosing words that uplift rather than harm, and refraining from gossip or negativity. This discipline fosters a sense of integrity, where our words become a reflection of our values. Right action focuses on how we conduct ourselves in the world. It calls for behavior that respects the well-being of others and aligns with ethical principles. Right action isn't about perfection. It's about striving to act with compassion, honesty, and responsibility. Whether it's helping a neighbor, choosing kindness in difficult moments, or simply living with integrity, our actions shape the quality of our lives. This discipline transforms ordinary tasks into opportunities to practice mindfulness and cultivate happiness. Right livelihood reminds us that how we earn a living matters. It encourages work that aligns with our values and contributes positively to the world. This principle doesn't necessarily mean finding the perfect job, but rather approaching our work with intention and care. Even in challenging or mundane roles, we can bring mindfulness and purpose, finding meaning in how we contribute to the greater good. This alignment between work and values creates a sense of fulfillment that transcends the daily grind. Right effort speaks to the discipline of balancing energy. It calls for avoiding extremes, neither being too lax nor overly rigid. Right effort involves cultivating habits that support our growth while letting go of those that hinder it. This principle reminds us that happiness requires consistent effort, not perfection. Whether it's committing to meditation, prioritizing health, or fostering positive relationships, the discipline of effort ensures that we stay aligned with our aspirations. Right. Mindfulness deepens our connection to the present. It teaches us to approach each moment with awareness, noticing thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment. This practice grounds us in reality, helping us navigate challenges with clarity and respond to life with intention. Right. Mindfulness isn't limited to meditation. It's a way of being, a commitment to fully engage with life. This discipline transforms even the simplest acts into opportunities for connection and gratitude. Right concentration completes the eightfold path, emphasizing the importance of focus. In a world filled with distractions, the ability to concentrate is a rare and valuable skill. Right concentration encourages us to direct our attention purposefully, whether in meditation, work, or relationships. This focus deepens our understanding, strengthens our resilience, and enhances our capacity for joy. The discipline of concentration teaches us to stay present, to resist the pull of distractions, and to fully engage with what matters most. Each aspect of the Eightfold Path is interconnected, creating a holistic approach to happiness. Together, they guide us toward a life of balance, where our thoughts, words, and actions align with our values. This alignment doesn't eliminate challenges, but equips us to face them with grace and clarity. The discipline required may seem daunting, but it is this very commitment that transforms fleeting moments of joy into a lasting state of contentment. Happiness through discipline is not about rigid control. It's about intentional living. It's about recognizing that every choice we make shapes our experience, and that small, consistent actions create profound change over time. This discipline isn't a burden, but a source of freedom. It empowers us to let go of what doesn't serve us, to nurture what does, and to live with purpose and authenticity. The practice of the Eightfold Path requires patience and self-compassion. There will be moments of doubt, distraction, or difficulty, but these are not failures. They are opportunities to learn and grow. Each step, no matter how small, brings us closer to a life rooted in peace, wisdom, and happiness. This path is not about perfection, but about progress, about choosing each day to live in alignment with what truly matters. By embracing the discipline of the Eightfold Path, we cultivate a happiness that is resilient, enduring, and deeply fulfilling. This happiness is not dependent on external circumstances, but arises from within, from the choices we make and the principles we uphold. It is a happiness that grows richer with time, sustained by the practice of living with intention, mindfulness, and compassion. This is the power of disciplined happiness, a way of being that transforms not only our own lives, but also the lives of those we touch. The discipline of following the Eightfold Path reveals a profound truth. Happiness is not a fleeting feeling, but a way of living, cultivated through intention and action. Yet, even as we take steps toward this deeper contentment, suffering remains an undeniable part of the human experience. In these moments of pain, it's easy to feel isolated, as though no one else could understand our struggles. But the truth is that suffering is not unique to any one person. It is a thread that weaves through every life, connecting us in shared humanity. Recognizing this universal truth transforms how we view our pain and deepens our capacity for compassion. Suffering often feels deeply personal. When we face loss, rejection, or disappointment, it seems as though the world has singled us out for hardship. This perspective magnifies our pain, adding loneliness to the burden we already carry. But suffering is not a punishment or a flaw. It is a natural part of being human. No one is immune to it, no matter their circumstances. Understanding this universality does not diminish the significance of our struggles, but places them within a larger context. It reminds us that we are not alone, and that others have walked similar paths. This awareness shifts our focus from "why me" to "what can I learn?" It invites us to approach suffering with curiosity and openness, seeking the lessons it has to offer. When we stop seeing pain as something that separates us from others, we begin to view it as a point of connection. This connection fosters empathy, allowing us to see beyond our own experience and recognize the humanity in those around us. Finding compassion through shared humanity begins with self-compassion. Often, we are our harshest critics, judging ourselves for feeling weak or overwhelmed. But these judgments only deepen our pain, reinforcing the false belief that we are somehow failing by struggling. Self-compassion involves treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we would offer a dear friend. It means acknowledging our pain without amplifying it, and allowing ourselves to heal without self-recrimination. When we extend compassion to ourselves, we create the foundation for extending it to others. Recognizing that our suffering is not unique helps us see the shared vulnerabilities that unite all people. This perspective dissolves the barriers of judgment and comparison that so often keep us apart. Instead of viewing others through the lens of their successes or shortcomings, we see them as fellow travelers on life's unpredictable journey. Compassion does not mean pity. It is not about placing ourselves above others or feeling sorry for them. True compassion is rooted in equality, in the understanding that we are all navigating the challenges of life as best we can. This mindset fosters humility and patience, allowing us to approach others with genuine care rather than condescension. It reminds us that everyone we meet is carrying burdens we may not see, and that a simple act of kindness can make a profound difference. Suffering often creates a sense of isolation, but it can also be a bridge. Sharing our experiences with others, whether through conversation, art, or community, allows us to connect on a deeper level. This sharing is not about seeking attention or validation, but about fostering understanding. When we open ourselves to others, we invite them to do the same, creating a space where healing and growth can occur. These connections remind us that we are not alone, and that together we are stronger. Compassion also transforms how we respond to conflict. When someone acts out of anger or fear, it is often a reflection of their own pain. Recognizing this doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it helps us approach the situation with empathy rather than retaliation. Instead of reacting with anger, we can choose to respond with understanding, addressing the underlying pain rather than escalating the conflict. This approach fosters resolution and healing, both for ourselves and for those involved. The universality of suffering also teaches us gratitude. When we understand that hardship is a shared experience, we begin to appreciate the moments of ease and joy in our own lives. Gratitude doesn't erase pain, but it provides a counterbalance, reminding us that even amid difficulty, there is still beauty and goodness. This perspective helps us navigate challenges with greater resilience and grace. Compassion is not a passive quality, it requires action. It asks us to step outside our comfort zones, to listen without judgment, and to offer help where it is needed. These actions may be small: a kind word, a helping hand, or a moment of patience, but their impact is profound. Compassion in action creates ripples that extend far beyond the immediate moment, touching lives in ways we may never see. Understanding the universality of suffering also helps us let go of resentment. When we feel wronged, it's easy to view the other person as an adversary, but holding on to anger only prolongs our pain. By recognizing that the person who hurt us is also struggling, we can begin to release the grip of resentment. This doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior. It means choosing freedom over bitterness. Forgiveness, rooted in compassion, is a gift we give ourselves as much as the other person. Compassion deepens our sense of purpose. When we recognize the interconnectedness of all people, our actions take on greater meaning. Helping others becomes not just an act of kindness, but a way of contributing to the collective well-being. This sense of purpose enriches our own lives, giving us a reason to keep moving forward, even in the face of difficulty. The practice of compassion also extends to how we view the world. It encourages us to look beyond our immediate circle and consider the broader challenges faced by humanity. This awareness fosters a sense of responsibility, inspiring us to contribute to solutions rather than turning away. Whether through advocacy, volunteering, or simply being mindful of our impact, compassion calls us to live with intention and care. Finding compassion through shared humanity does not eliminate suffering, but it transforms how we experience it. It teaches us that pain, while deeply personal, is also universal. This understanding dissolves the illusion of isolation, reminding us that we are part of a greater whole. It invites us to approach life with an open heart, ready to give and receive support. In this way, suffering becomes not a barrier, but a bridge, a way to connect, to grow, and to discover the strength that lies within us all. Recognizing the shared nature of suffering dissolves feelings of isolation and opens the heart to compassion. This understanding invites us to connect deeply with others, but it also illuminates a profound truth. True happiness can't be found in external circumstances. While we may seek joy in achievements, possessions, or relationships, lasting peace and fulfillment are not dependent on the world around us. They emerge from within. The search for happiness must turn inward, where the foundations of inner contentment are waiting to be discovered. External pursuits often feel like the path to happiness. Society reinforces the idea that success, wealth, or recognition will lead to a fulfilling life. Yet, how often do these pursuits deliver the deep and lasting joy we seek? The excitement of a new achievement fades, the glow of admiration diminishes, and the comfort of material possessions eventually loses its appeal. This cycle leaves us chasing the next thing, believing that just one more accomplishment, purchase, or relationship will finally fill the void. But the void persists because happiness built on external factors is inherently fragile. The truth of inner contentment begins with self-awareness. Many of us move through life driven by desires and fears without pausing to examine their origins. Why do we want what we want? Why do certain situations make us feel incomplete or restless? By looking inward, we start to understand the patterns and beliefs that fuel our discontent. This understanding doesn't require judgment. It requires curiosity and honesty. Awareness is the first step in breaking free from the illusion that happiness is something to be found outside ourselves. Contentment arises when we stop clinging to what we think we need and start appreciating what we already have. Gratitude plays a central role in this process. It shifts our focus from lack to abundance, reminding us of the simple joys and blessings that often go unnoticed. Gratitude is not about ignoring difficulties or pretending everything is perfect. It's about holding space for both the challenges and the gifts in our lives, finding balance and perspective in the midst of it all. Inner contentment also requires acceptance. Much of our suffering comes from resisting reality, wishing things were different, fighting against what is. Acceptance is not about giving up or settling. It's about seeing life clearly and responding with wisdom. When we stop resisting, we free ourselves to engage with the present moment fully. This openness creates space for joy, even in the midst of imperfection. Self-compassion is another cornerstone of inner contentment. The way we speak to ourselves shapes our emotional landscape. Harsh self-criticism fuels feelings of inadequacy and restlessness, while kindness and understanding create a sense of peace. Self-compassion doesn't mean avoiding responsibility. It means approaching our struggles with care and patience. This gentle perspective allows us to grow without the weight of shame or guilt. The pursuit of inner contentment also invites us to redefine success. Society often measures success in terms of status, income, or accomplishments, but these markers are external and fleeting. True success is about alignment, living in harmony with our values and purpose. This shift in perspective helps us focus on what truly matters, freeing us from the need to constantly prove our worth through external achievements. Living with intention is another path to inner contentment. When we align our actions with our values, we experience a sense of integrity and fulfillment. This alignment might mean prioritizing relationships, pursuing meaningful work, or simply living with mindfulness and care. It's not about perfection, but about making choices that reflect our deepest truths. These choices build a foundation for lasting happiness, rooted in authenticity rather than external validation. Mindfulness deepens our connection to inner contentment by grounding us in the present. When we are fully engaged in the moment, we are less likely to be swept away by worries about the future or regrets about the past. This presence allows us to appreciate life as it unfolds, finding beauty and peace in the here and now. Mindfulness is not just a practice but a way of being, one that nurtures a sense of completeness regardless of external circumstances. Letting go of comparison is also essential. The habit of comparing ourselves to others fuels dissatisfaction and envy, drawing our attention away from our own journey. By focusing inward, we can appreciate our unique path and progress. This perspective fosters gratitude and self-acceptance, breaking the cycle of comparison that undermines our happiness. The truth of inner contentment also lies in simplicity. Complexity and excess often create stress and distraction, pulling us away from what truly matters. Simplifying our lives, whether by decluttering our spaces, reducing commitments, or quieting our minds, creates room for peace and clarity. This simplicity doesn't mean giving up what we love. It means prioritizing what brings genuine joy and fulfillment. Connection to others is another dimension of inner contentment. While happiness doesn't come from outside, relationships can enrich our lives when approached with mindfulness and balance. When we engage with others authentically, free from the need for validation or control, we create connections that are meaningful and supportive. These relationships complement our inner contentment, enhancing rather than defining our happiness. Spirituality, or a sense of purpose, also nurtures inner contentment. This doesn't necessarily mean adhering to a specific religion or belief system. It means connecting with something greater than ourselves. Whether it's through meditation, nature, service, or creativity, this connection provides perspective and meaning. It reminds us that we are part of a larger whole, grounding us in a sense of peace that transcends individual challenges. Inner contentment is not about eliminating all desires or emotions. It's about understanding them, engaging with them wisely, and not letting them control us. This balance allows us to navigate life's highs and lows with grace, finding steadiness amid the ever-changing tides. It's a process of learning to trust ourselves and the flow of life, knowing that happiness is not something we must chase, but something we can cultivate from within. The journey toward inner contentment is ongoing. It requires patience, practice and self-compassion. There will be moments of doubt or distraction, but these are part of the process. Each step we take, whether it's pausing to appreciate a simple moment, speaking kindly to ourselves, or letting go of an old belief, brings us closer to a life of lasting peace and joy. Inner contentment is not a destination, but a way of being, a state of wholeness that allows us to experience the fullness of life from the inside out. Understanding that happiness comes from within provides the foundation for lasting peace. It teaches us that true contentment is not dependent on external circumstances, but rooted in how we relate to ourselves and the world. Yet, even as we cultivate this inner well-being, life remains unpredictable. Challenges arise and events unfold beyond our control. It is here that another profound truth emerges: the strength to let go. Acceptance, or upekkha, is not resignation. It is a powerful act of liberation that allows the mind to rest free from the turmoil of resistance. Letting go begins with understanding what is within our control and what is not. So much of our suffering stems from trying to change things we cannot influence. Whether it's another person's behavior, the outcome of a situation, or the passage of time, we expend energy resisting what simply is. This resistance creates tension, frustration, and a sense of powerlessness. Acceptance, on the other hand, releases this burden. It doesn't mean giving up or agreeing with everything. It means acknowledging reality as it is, without trying to force it into our expectations. The act of letting go requires courage. It asks us to confront uncertainty and release the illusion of control that we cling to for comfort. This process is not about apathy or detachment from life, but about engaging with it fully, free from the weight of unrealistic demands. Acceptance allows us to approach challenges with clarity and focus, finding solutions where possible and peace where change is beyond our reach. Letting go transforms how we experience loss. When we hold tightly to what has passed, whether it's a relationship, a phase of life, or an opportunity, we tether ourselves to the pain of what is no longer there. Acceptance doesn't erase grief, but allows it to flow naturally without resistance. It creates space for healing, teaching us that loss is a part of life's rhythm and that new growth often follows endings. The power of acceptance is also evident in how we approach relationships. We often wish others would act differently, speak differently, or see the world as we do. These expectations create conflict and strain, as they are rarely met. Letting go of the need to control others allows us to love and connect without conditions. It frees relationships from the weight of judgment and unmet expectations, creating space for authenticity and mutual respect. Acceptance also liberates us from the tyranny of our own minds. Thoughts of regret, guilt, and worry often dominate our inner dialogue, pulling us away from the present. These thoughts are rooted in resistance, wishing the past were different or fearing an imagined future. By letting go of these mental struggles, we reclaim our peace. We learn to observe our thoughts without being consumed by them, recognizing that they are fleeting and not necessarily reflective of reality. Letting go requires mindfulness. It is not a passive act, but a deliberate choice to release what we cannot control. Mindfulness helps us identify the moments when resistance arises, whether it's in the form of frustration, anxiety, or disappointment. By bringing awareness to these feelings, we can pause and consciously choose acceptance. This practice doesn't mean suppressing emotions, but allowing them to exist without judgment or clinging. The strength of letting go lies in its paradox. By releasing our grip on what we cannot control, we discover a deeper sense of freedom and agency. Resistance traps us in cycles of struggle, while acceptance opens the door to possibility. It allows us to focus our energy on what we can influence, our actions, our attitudes, and our responses, rather than on the uncontrollable forces of life. Acceptance also fosters resilience. Life's challenges are inevitable, but how we respond to them is within our power. When we resist difficulty, we magnify its impact, turning obstacles into insurmountable barriers. Letting go transforms these challenges into opportunities for growth. It teaches us to navigate adversity with grace, adapting to change rather than being broken by it. This resilience becomes a source of strength, allowing us to face life's uncertainties with confidence. Letting go is not about abandoning dreams or ambitions. It's about pursuing them with openness and flexibility, unattached to specific outcomes. This mindset allows us to engage with our goals fully while remaining adaptable to the twists and turns of life. It teaches us to find joy in the journey rather than placing all our happiness on reaching a particular destination. Acceptance also deepens our connection to the present. When we let go of what might have been or what could be, we free ourselves to fully experience what is. This presence enhances our appreciation for life's simple moments, grounding us in a sense of peace and gratitude. It reminds us that joy is not something we must chase, but something we can find right here, in the now. The practice of letting go extends to how we view ourselves. We often carry expectations about who we should be, how we should act, or what we should achieve. These self-imposed pressures create stress and diminish our sense of worth. Acceptance invites us to embrace ourselves as we are, with all our imperfections and strengths. This self-acceptance is not complacency, but a foundation for growth, allowing us to improve without the burden of self-criticism. Letting go also transforms how we relate to time. The past cannot be changed, and the future is uncertain, yet we spend so much of our energy trying to rewrite history or predict what's to come. Acceptance teaches us to honor the lessons of the past without dwelling on them, and to prepare for the future without becoming consumed by it. This balanced approach allows us to live more fully in the present, unburdened by regrets or anxieties. The power of acceptance is not limited to personal struggles. It also shapes how we view the world. By letting go of the need for everything to align with our preferences or beliefs, we open ourselves to different perspectives. This openness fosters understanding and compassion, breaking down barriers of judgment and division. It reminds us that the world's diversity is a source of richness, not conflict. Letting go requires practice. It is not a one-time decision, but an ongoing commitment to approach life with openness and flexibility. There will be moments of resistance, but these are opportunities to deepen our practice. Each time we choose acceptance over struggle, we strengthen our ability to let go. Over time, this practice becomes a way of being, a path to lasting peace and freedom. Acceptance is not about giving up. It is about letting go of what no longer serves us. It is an act of strength, a choice to release resistance and embrace life as it is. This choice liberates the mind, allowing us to move through life with greater ease and clarity. It teaches us that true freedom comes not from controlling the world around us, but from finding peace within ourselves. Letting go is not a weakness. It is the ultimate strength, the power to live fully and freely in the ever-changing flow of life. Letting go teaches us the profound strength of accepting life as it is, rather than as we wish it to be. This acceptance frees the mind and allows us to navigate challenges with greater peace. But within the inevitable ups and downs of life, there remains an important distinction. While pain is unavoidable, suffering is something we create and can control. The way we respond to pain determines whether it becomes a momentary experience or evolves into prolonged anguish. Mastering emotional detachment empowers us to reframe pain and reduce unnecessary suffering, granting us the freedom to move through life with greater ease. Pain is a natural part of existence. It is the body's way of signaling harm and the heart's way of expressing loss or disappointment. It is neither good nor bad. It simply is. However, suffering arises from how we interpret and react to that pain. It is the mental and emotional narrative we construct around the discomfort. This narrative often amplifies the original pain, adding layers of frustration, anger, or despair that deepen our distress. Emotional detachment, however, creates space between the pain and our reaction, enabling us to break this cycle. Detachment does not mean indifference. It is not about suppressing emotions or disconnecting from life. Rather, it is the ability to observe emotions without being controlled by them. This perspective allows us to experience pain without letting it define us. By stepping back and acknowledging our feelings without judgment, we gain clarity and control over our responses. Reframing pain is a key aspect of emotional detachment. When faced with challenges, our minds often leap to worst-case scenarios or unhelpful interpretations. These thought patterns intensify our suffering, making the situation seem worse than it is. Detachment invites us to question these narratives. Is the situation truly as dire as it feels? What opportunities for growth or learning might this pain offer? This shift in perspective doesn't eliminate the pain, but transforms how we experience it. One practical way to cultivate emotional detachment is through mindfulness. By bringing our attention to the present moment, we disrupt the mental spirals that feed suffering. Pain exists in the now, but much of our suffering comes from dwelling on past hurts or worrying about future consequences. Mindfulness grounds us in the reality of the moment, allowing us to face pain with greater calm and composure. Detachment also involves recognizing the impermanence of emotions. No feeling lasts forever, even the most intense ones. Pain ebbs and flows, and suffering diminishes when we allow ourselves to ride these waves rather than resist them. Detachment reminds us that emotions are temporary and that holding on to them only prolongs their impact. By letting them pass naturally, we free ourselves to heal. Another important aspect of emotional detachment is the ability to set boundaries with our thoughts. Not every thought deserves our attention or energy. When negative or unproductive thoughts arise, we can acknowledge them without engaging. This practice doesn't suppress thoughts, but prevents them from taking root and growing into suffering. Detachment allows us to choose which thoughts to nurture and which to let go. Detachment also transforms how we view expectations. Much of our suffering comes from the gap between what we expect and what actually happens. When reality falls short of our expectations, we feel disappointment or frustration. Detachment helps us release these rigid expectations, allowing us to approach life with openness and flexibility. This perspective reduces the sting of unmet hopes and creates space for new possibilities. Pain often carries lessons that are obscured by suffering. Detachment helps us uncover these lessons by creating clarity. When we are no longer consumed by our reactions, we can reflect on the experience with curiosity and insight. What does this pain reveal about our values, priorities, or vulnerabilities? How can it guide us toward growth? This process turns pain into a teacher rather than a tormentor. Detachment also deepens our resilience. When we are attached to avoiding pain, we become fragile, unable to cope with life's inevitable challenges. Emotional detachment strengthens our ability to face adversity with grace. It teaches us that pain is not something to fear, but something to navigate. This resilience empowers us to move through difficulties with confidence, knowing that they do not have the power to break us. Compassion plays a significant role in mastering emotional detachment. When we approach ourselves with kindness during moments of pain, we soften the edges of suffering. Instead of harsh self-criticism or judgment, we offer ourselves understanding and care. This self-compassion creates a supportive environment for healing, allowing us to recover without the added burden of shame or guilt. Detachment also changes how we interact with others' pain. Witnessing the suffering of loved ones can be deeply challenging, and our instinct is often to fix or take on their pain as our own. However, this approach can lead to burnout and diminish our ability to help effectively. Emotional detachment allows us to support others with empathy and presence without becoming overwhelmed. It creates a balance where we can offer care without losing ourselves in their struggles. Releasing control is another essential element of detachment. We cannot control every aspect of life, no matter how much we try. Pain often arises when we cling to the illusion of control, believing that we can prevent discomfort or ensure specific outcomes. Detachment teaches us to surrender this need for control, accepting life's unpredictability with grace. This surrender is not weakness, but a profound strength that allows us to adapt and thrive. Detachment does not mean denying our humanity or suppressing our feelings. It is a practice of balance, of fully experiencing life while maintaining perspective. It reminds us that pain is a natural part of the human experience, but suffering is a choice. This choice is not about avoiding pain, but about reframing it, responding with wisdom, and allowing it to flow through us without taking root. Mastering emotional detachment is an ongoing process. It requires patience, self-awareness, and consistent practice. There will be moments when pain feels overwhelming and detachment seems out of reach. These moments are not failures, but opportunities to deepen our understanding and resilience. Each time we choose detachment, we strengthen our ability to navigate life's challenges with grace and clarity. By reframing pain and controlling our reactions, we unlock a profound freedom. We learn that while pain is inevitable, suffering is not. This freedom allows us to move through life with greater ease, unburdened by the weight of unnecessary anguish. Detachment does not make us immune to pain, but equips us to face it with strength and wisdom. It transforms our relationship with discomfort, turning it into a pathway to growth and inner peace. This is the power of mastering emotional detachment, a liberation that allows us to live fully, even in the face of life's inevitable challenges. Detaching from pain reveals a powerful truth. The way we interpret and respond to life's challenges has far more influence on our well-being than the challenges themselves. This understanding naturally leads to a deeper realization. Our thoughts are the foundation of our reality. The mind is not just a passive observer of the world, but an active creator of experience. Right intention, or samma sankappa, teaches us how aligning our mindset with wisdom and purpose can transform the way we perceive and experience happiness. The mind is a fertile field, and the thoughts we nurture are the seeds that determine what grows. When thoughts are rooted in fear, anger, or greed, they cultivate suffering, but when they are grounded in kindness, clarity, and purpose, they give rise to peace and fulfillment. Right intention is the practice of consciously guiding the mind toward what uplifts and strengthens us, rather than what pulls us down. This practice is not about controlling every thought, but about setting a deliberate direction for the mind to follow. Aligning the mind with right intention begins with self-awareness. Thoughts often flow unchecked, shaping our mood and decisions without our conscious involvement. Becoming aware of these patterns allows us to recognize which thoughts serve us and which do not. Awareness is not about judging or suppressing thoughts, but about observing them with curiosity. This practice creates the space to choose intentions that align with our values and aspirations. Right intention emphasizes three core qualities: renunciation, goodwill, and harmlessness. Renunciation is not about rejecting life's pleasures, but about letting go of cravings and attachments that distort our judgment and create suffering. It frees the mind from clinging, allowing us to experience life with openness and balance. Goodwill nurtures thoughts of kindness and compassion, both toward ourselves and others. It replaces judgment and resentment with understanding and connection. Harmlessness extends this principle, guiding us to think and act in ways that avoid causing pain or harm. Together, these qualities create a foundation for thoughts that lead to peace and happiness. The power of right intention lies in its ability to shape perception. The world is not experienced directly, but through the lens of the mind. A mindset filled with negativity will find flaws and conflicts everywhere, while one grounded in positivity will notice opportunities and beauty. This shift in perspective doesn't deny the existence of challenges, but frames them in a way that fosters resilience and growth. Right intention teaches us to cultivate a mindset that seeks solutions rather than dwelling on problems, fostering hope and clarity even in difficult times. Mindfulness strengthens the practice of right intention. By staying present, we become more attuned to the thoughts that arise and can consciously guide them toward what is constructive. This mindfulness prevents the mind from being hijacked by habitual negativity or distraction, allowing us to remain aligned with our intentions. It also deepens our ability to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively, creating a sense of stability and control. The practice of right intention also transforms how we approach relationships. Thoughts of goodwill and harmlessness foster empathy and understanding, creating a foundation for genuine connection. When we let go of judgment and criticism, we open ourselves to seeing others as they truly are, beyond their flaws or differences. This perspective nurtures harmony and reduces conflict, allowing relationships to flourish in an atmosphere of mutual respect. Right intention is not limited to our interactions with others. It also shapes how we relate to ourselves. Thoughts of self-doubt, guilt, or inadequacy often arise unbidden, undermining our confidence and peace. By cultivating intentions rooted in self-compassion, we create a supportive inner dialogue that encourages growth without harshness. This practice helps us approach our own challenges with patience and understanding, reinforcing the belief that we're capable of change and deserving of happiness. The influence of right intention extends to how we pursue goals and ambitions. When our intentions are rooted in wisdom and purpose, our efforts become more focused and meaningful. This alignment prevents us from chasing superficial achievements that offer only fleeting satisfaction. Instead, it guides us toward endeavors that resonate with our values and bring lasting fulfillment. Right intention transforms ambition into a source of growth rather than a source of stress, allowing us to pursue success without losing sight of what truly matters. The connection between thoughts and emotions highlights the importance of right intention. Negative thoughts often trigger feelings of anger, sadness, or fear, while positive thoughts inspire joy, hope, and calm. By consciously guiding our thoughts, we influence not only our actions, but also our emotional state. This practice doesn't mean ignoring difficult emotions, but reframing them in a way that supports healing and resilience. Right intention teaches us to use the power of thought to create a more balanced and uplifting emotional landscape. Right intention also helps us navigate uncertainty and change. Life is unpredictable, and the mind often clings to what is familiar or fears what is unknown. These tendencies can create anxiety and resistance. By cultivating intentions of openness and adaptability, we train the mind to embrace change as a natural part of life. This mindset reduces the stress of uncertainty, allowing us to approach transitions with curiosity and confidence. The practice of right intention requires consistency and commitment. It is not about achieving perfection, but about making deliberate choices each day to align thoughts with what uplifts and strengthens us. There will be moments when negativity or doubt creeps in, but these are opportunities to return to our intentions with renewed focus. Each time we choose thoughts of kindness, clarity, and purpose, we reinforce the habit of right intention, making it easier to sustain over time. The power of right intention lies not only in its ability to shape individual experiences, but also in its ripple effects. Thoughts influence actions, which in turn influence the world around us. When our actions are guided by intentions of goodwill and harmlessness, they contribute to a more harmonious and compassionate environment. This influence extends beyond ourselves, touching the lives of those we interact with and creating a positive cycle of thought and action. Aligning the mind with right intention is a lifelong practice, but its rewards are profound. It transforms the way we experience ourselves, others, and the world, fostering a sense of peace and purpose that transcends external circumstances. By choosing thoughts that reflect our highest values and aspirations, we create a reality that is not only more fulfilling, but also more aligned with the principles of wisdom and compassion. This is the power of right intention, a path to happiness that begins within and radiates outward, shaping our reality in profound and lasting ways. Aligning your thoughts with purpose and wisdom unlocks a reality shaped by clarity, intention, and deep peace. It offers a foundation to build a life that reflects your values and fosters happiness. Yet, this alignment cannot flourish when weighed down by unnecessary complexities and distractions. Letting go of excess is not just about material possessions. It's about clearing the clutter in all areas of life, physical, emotional, and mental, to create space for genuine joy and contentment. Simplicity is not deprivation, it is freedom. It allows you to focus on what truly matters, cultivating a life of balance and fulfillment. Modern life often encourages accumulation, more possessions, more commitments, more achievements. This pursuit of more can feel overwhelming, as it ties us to a constant cycle of striving and comparison. While some of these things may offer temporary satisfaction, they often fail to bring lasting joy. Instead, they create a sense of weight, a burden that distracts from the beauty of the present moment. Simplicity cuts through this noise, offering clarity and a renewed sense of purpose. The Buddhist approach to simplicity begins with understanding the difference between needs and wants. Needs are essential for survival and well-being, while wants often stem from cravings and attachments. These cravings pull us away from peace, tying our happiness to things outside ourselves. By focusing on what is truly necessary, we lighten our load and free ourselves from the endless chase for external validation. This shift allows us to experience contentment in what we already have. Letting go of excess also cultivates mindfulness. When we simplify, we become more intentional about our choices and actions. Whether it's decluttering a physical space or saying no to commitments that don't align with our values, these acts of simplification require awareness. This awareness extends beyond the act itself, nurturing a deeper connection to the present moment. Each decision becomes an opportunity to practice mindfulness, creating a ripple effect that enhances other areas of life. The freedom that comes from simplicity extends to time and energy. Many people feel trapped by busy schedules and endless obligations, leaving little room for rest or reflection. Simplifying commitments allows you to reclaim your time, focusing on activities and relationships that nourish your soul. This newfound space is not about doing nothing, but about doing what truly brings meaning and joy. It transforms how you experience time, turning it from a source of stress into an opportunity for connection and growth. Simplicity also has profound emotional benefits. Letting go of excess isn't limited to physical possessions. It includes releasing emotional baggage and mental clutter. This means forgiving past grievances, detaching from unhealthy relationships, and quieting the constant chatter of self-criticism. These steps create room for peace and self-compassion, fostering an inner calm that radiates outward. Financial simplicity is another aspect of this path. When we align our spending with our values rather than fleeting desires, we reduce financial stress and cultivate gratitude for what we have. Living within your means doesn't mean sacrificing happiness. It means finding joy in simplicity and avoiding the anxiety of excess debt or materialism. This approach creates stability and a deeper appreciation for life's true treasures. Simplicity also enhances relationships. When we let go of superficial connections and focus on meaningful ones, we create deeper bonds. Simplicity in relationships is about quality over quantity, valuing authenticity and mutual respect over appearances or convenience. This focus nurtures connections that uplift and support, creating a network of trust and care that enriches life. Another profound benefit of simplicity is its impact on decision-making. When life is cluttered with too many options or distractions, decision-making becomes stressful and exhausting. Simplifying your environment and priorities clears this mental clutter, making it easier to focus on what truly matters. This clarity reduces stress and enhances your ability to make thoughtful, intentional choices. Living simply also deepens your connection to the natural world. Excess often creates a barrier between us and the environment as we become consumed by man-made distractions. Simplicity invites us to slow down and appreciate the beauty of nature, whether it's a walk in the park, the sound of birdsong, or the changing seasons. These moments ground us, reminding us of our place in the larger tapestry of life. Letting go of excess doesn't mean abandoning ambition or joy. It means pursuing goals and pleasures that align with your core values rather than societal pressures. This alignment brings authenticity to your actions, ensuring that your efforts contribute to lasting fulfillment rather than fleeting satisfaction. Simplicity transforms ambition from a source of stress into a source of purpose. Simplicity also fosters gratitude. When you strip away distractions and focus on what truly matters, you develop a greater appreciation for life's small joys. A shared meal, a quiet moment of reflection, or the warmth of a loved one's smile becomes a source of deep contentment. Gratitude flourishes in simplicity, creating a positive cycle that reinforces peace and happiness. Sustainability is another benefit of simplicity. Excess consumption often strains resources and contributes to environmental harm. By choosing simplicity, you reduce your ecological footprint and contribute to a healthier planet. This approach aligns personal well-being with the collective good, creating a sense of harmony and purpose. Practicing simplicity requires courage and commitment. It asks you to challenge societal norms and let go of attachments that no longer serve you. This process can be uncomfortable, as it requires facing fears and questioning long-held beliefs. However, the rewards far outweigh the challenges. Each step towards simplicity brings greater freedom, clarity, and joy. Simplicity also teaches the art of contentment. In a culture that glorifies excess and competition, contentment can feel like settling. But true contentment is not about giving up. It's about recognizing that happiness doesn't come from having more, but from appreciating enough. This mindset creates a sense of abundance, even in modest circumstances, and frees you from the constant pull of dissatisfaction. The journey towards simplicity is deeply personal. What feels like excess to one person may be essential to another. The goal is not to follow a prescribed formula, but to align your life with your values and priorities. This alignment creates a life that feels authentic and meaningful, free from the distractions of unnecessary complexity. Simplifying your life doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process of reflection, choice, and practice. Each small step, whether it's clearing a space, re-evaluating a commitment, or pausing to appreciate a moment, builds a foundation for greater joy and contentment. These steps are not about perfection, but about progress, creating a life that feels lighter, clearer, and more fulfilling. In embracing simplicity, you create space for what truly matters. You free yourself from the weight of excess and open the door to a life of greater clarity, peace, and happiness. Simplicity is not about less. It's about more of what nourishes the soul and aligns with the heart. It is a path to living fully and freely, anchored in the profound truth that contentment is found not in accumulation, but in letting go. Choosing simplicity creates a space where contentment can take root. It shifts focus away from endless accumulation and redirects energy toward meaningful connections and experiences. As life becomes lighter, it naturally invites a deeper appreciation for the blessings already present. This brings us to a profound principle of happiness: gratitude. While simplicity clears the path, gratitude is the compass that guides us to joy. It transforms how we see the world, revealing abundance where we once saw lack, and nurturing a sense of fulfillment that transcends external circumstances. Gratitude is not just a fleeting feeling. It is a practice, a deliberate way of engaging with life. It shifts the focus from what is missing to what is present, illuminating the richness of even the simplest moments. When we pause to acknowledge what we have, we interrupt the endless cycle of wanting more. This pause creates a sense of peace and sufficiency, reminding us that happiness does not come from acquiring, but from appreciating. Practicing gratitude aligns deeply with Buddhist principles, particularly the teachings on mindfulness and non-attachment. gratitude grounds us in the present, allowing us to fully experience and appreciate what is here and now. It also helps loosen the grip of craving, the constant yearning for more that often leads to dissatisfaction. By focusing on what we already have, gratitude reduces the pull of desire, creating space for contentment to flourish. Gratitude also fosters humility. It reminds us that much of what we enjoy, whether it's the warmth of the sun, the love of family, or the food on our table, is not solely of our making. This recognition softens the ego, encouraging a sense of interconnectedness and appreciation for the contributions of others. Humility deepens our ability to receive joy, as it opens the heart to the gifts of life without the need for ownership or control. The practice of gratitude also strengthens resilience. Life is full of challenges, and it can be easy to focus on what's going wrong. Gratitude acts as a counterbalance, helping us see the good even in difficult times. This perspective doesn't deny the reality of pain, but places it within a larger context, where blessings coexist with burdens. Gratitude turns challenges into opportunities for growth, teaching us to find strength and wisdom in adversity. One powerful way to cultivate gratitude is through reflection. Taking time each day to acknowledge what you are thankful for, whether it's a kind word, a moment of beauty, or simply the gift of another day, creates a habit of appreciation. This practice trains the mind to seek out the positive, shifting your overall outlook toward one of abundance and joy. Over time, this shift becomes a natural way of seeing the world, enriching your experience of life. Gratitude also enhances relationships. When we take the time to appreciate others, we strengthen our bonds and deepen our connections. Acknowledging the kindness, support, or presence of loved ones nurtures trust and mutual respect. It transforms interactions from transactional to meaningful, creating a foundation for relationships that uplift and sustain. Another dimension of gratitude is its ability to reduce envy and comparison. In a culture that often measures worth by what others have, it's easy to fall into the trap of feeling inadequate. Gratitude breaks this cycle by redirecting attention to your own life and its unique blessings. It shifts the focus from competition to appreciation, allowing you to celebrate your journey without being overshadowed by someone else's. Gratitude also aligns with the principle of impermanence. Life is fleeting, and every moment is a gift that will not last forever. Recognizing this truth deepens our appreciation for the present, whether it's a joyful experience or a fleeting connection. This awareness doesn't create fear, but fosters a profound sense of presence and gratitude for what is here now. The benefits of gratitude extend beyond the emotional and spiritual. They also impact physical well-being. Studies have shown that practicing gratitude can reduce stress, improve sleep, and enhance overall health. This connection between gratitude and well-being reflects the holistic nature of happiness, where the mind, body, and spirit are intertwined. By nurturing gratitude, we care for ourselves on multiple levels, creating a foundation for a healthier and more balanced life. Gratitude is also a source of creativity. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we find new ways to use and appreciate our resources. This perspective encourages innovation and adaptability, transforming limitations into opportunities. Gratitude turns the ordinary into the extraordinary, revealing beauty and potential in the simplest things. The practice of gratitude also deepens our sense of purpose. When we appreciate the gifts of life, we are naturally inspired to give back. Gratitude fuels generosity, encouraging acts of kindness that ripple outward. This cycle of giving and receiving creates a sense of connection and fulfillment that enhances both individual and collective well-being. Gratitude invites us to slow down. In the rush of daily life, it's easy to overlook the small joys and blessings that surround us. By pausing to acknowledge them, we break the habit of rushing and reconnect with the richness of the moment. This practice grounds us, reminding us that joy is not found in chasing, but in being fully present. Gratitude also teaches acceptance. While life may not always align with our expectations, it still offers countless gifts. By focusing on these gifts rather than the gaps, we cultivate a mindset of appreciation rather than resistance. This acceptance doesn't mean settling, but finding peace in what is, even as we strive for growth. The transformative power of gratitude lies in its simplicity. It doesn't require grand gestures or perfect circumstances. It is accessible to everyone, in every moment. Whether it's the taste of a meal, the sound of laughter, or the comfort of a familiar routine, gratitude reveals the richness of life as it is. This simplicity makes gratitude a profound and universal practice, one that transcends cultural and personal differences. Gratitude is not about ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It is about finding light even in darkness, about recognizing the good amidst the difficult. This perspective doesn't deny pain, but acknowledges that joy and struggle often coexist. Gratitude teaches us to hold both with grace, creating a deeper and more balanced experience of life. As we practice gratitude, it becomes a way of being rather than a momentary feeling. It transforms how we see ourselves, others, and the world, fostering a sense of peace and abundance that transcends circumstances. Gratitude aligns us with the flow of life, reminding us that joy is not something we must chase, but something we can choose, right here and now. This choice is a gift we give ourselves, one that continually renews and enriches our journey. Gratitude unveils the profound abundance already present in life, teaching us to embrace the beauty of what we have, rather than chase after what we think we lack. As this mindset flourishes, it gently steers us toward another often overlooked truth: the power and serenity found in solitude. In a world that often equates being alone with loneliness, Buddhist wisdom reveals a deeper perspective. To live fully does not always require the presence of others. Instead, it encourages a rich relationship with oneself, where solitude becomes a source of strength, clarity, and profound fulfillment. Being alone is not an absence, but a presence. It offers an opportunity to connect deeply with your own thoughts, emotions, and spirit, without the distractions of external noise. In this quiet space, you learn to listen, not only to the world around you, but to the subtle whispers within. This connection fosters self-awareness, revealing the layers of your mind and heart that often remain hidden in the bustle of daily life. The practice of solitude allows for a clearer understanding of your needs, desires, and values. When surrounded by others, it's easy to absorb external influences and lose sight of your own voice. Solitude clears the static, enabling you to discern what truly matters to you. This clarity is not selfish. It strengthens your ability to engage authentically with the world. By knowing yourself, you can offer more meaningful contributions and connections to others. Solitude also nurtures independence. It teaches you to rely on your inner resources for fulfillment rather than seeking constant validation or distraction from outside sources. This self-reliance builds confidence, showing you that your worth is not defined by others' opinions or presence. In this way, solitude becomes a foundation for resilience, allowing you to navigate life's challenges with greater stability and grace. The Buddhist perspective on solitude highlights its role in cultivating mindfulness. When alone, the mind often wanders, seeking stimulation or escape. Mindfulness brings the wandering mind back to the present, teaching you to sit with your thoughts and feelings without judgment. This practice deepens your ability to remain present and engaged, even in moments of discomfort or uncertainty. Over time, mindfulness transforms solitude from something to avoid into something to cherish. In solitude, you also discover the richness of simplicity. Without the distractions of social obligations or external expectations, life takes on a slower, more intentional rhythm. This simplicity is not about deprivation, but about savoring the essence of each moment. A quiet cup of tea, the rustle of leaves in the wind, or the rhythm of your own breath becomes a source of profound contentment. Solitude reveals that joy does not need to be grand or loud. It can be found in the smallest, most ordinary moments. The practice of being alone also invites creativity. When the mind is free from external demands, it has space to explore, imagine, and innovate. Many great ideas, works of art, and discoveries have been born in solitude. This creative potential is not limited to grand endeavors. It can manifest in how you approach challenges, solve problems, or express yourself. Solitude fosters a sense of curiosity and exploration, encouraging you to see the world and yourself with fresh eyes. Solitude also deepens your connection to nature. Without the distractions of conversation or technology, you become more attuned to the natural world. A walk in the woods, the sound of rain, or the sight of a star-filled sky takes on new meaning. This connection grounds you, reminding you of the larger rhythms of life and your place within them. Nature becomes a companion in solitude, offering solace and inspiration. While solitude strengthens self-awareness, it also enhances your relationships with others. By spending time alone, you develop a greater understanding of your boundaries, needs, and emotions. This awareness allows you to engage with others more authentically and compassionately. Solitude teaches you that your worth is not dependent on others, freeing you to form connections based on mutual respect and genuine care rather than neediness or insecurity. The fear of being alone often stems from the discomfort of facing oneself. In solitude, there is no distraction from the thoughts, fears, or regrets that we often suppress. Yet, this confrontation is where growth begins. By sitting with discomfort rather than avoiding it, you develop a deeper understanding of yourself and your patterns. This understanding creates the foundation for healing and transformation, allowing you to move through life with greater peace and self-acceptance. The power of being alone also lies in its ability to recharge the mind and spirit. Constant interaction, whether in person or through technology, can drain energy and create a sense of overwhelm. Solitude provides a sanctuary where you can rest, reflect, and restore. This renewal is not just about relaxation. It is about reconnecting with your inner self and finding balance amid life's demands. Solitude aligns with the Buddhist principle of non-attachment. It teaches you to find contentment within, rather than clinging to external sources of happiness. This practice doesn't mean rejecting relationships or connections, but approaching them with a sense of freedom and balance. Solitude shows you that you can be whole on your own, which enriches the quality of your interactions with others. The practice of solitude also fosters gratitude. In the quiet of being alone, you become more attuned to the blessings of your life, from the warmth of a safe space to the richness of your thoughts and experiences. This gratitude is not limited to material things. It extends to the simple act of being, the opportunity to exist and explore the depths of your inner world. Solitude reveals that contentment is not found in what you have, but in how you perceive and appreciate your life. Living alone fully does not mean isolating yourself from the world. It means embracing the times of solitude as opportunities for growth, reflection, and renewal. It means seeing aloneness not as a void to be filled, but as a space to be enriched. This perspective transforms how you experience yourself and your relationship with the world, creating a balance between connection and independence. The journey of solitude is deeply personal, shaped by your unique experiences, needs, and aspirations. It invites you to explore the vast inner landscape that often goes unnoticed in the rush of daily life. This exploration is not about reaching a destination, but about discovering the richness and depth of simply being. Solitude becomes a companion, a teacher, and a source of profound joy and fulfillment. In embracing the power of being alone, you learn that life's fullness does not depend on constant activity or interaction. It is found in the quiet moments of presence, the deep well of inner peace, and the infinite potential of your own spirit. Solitude is not emptiness, it is wholeness. It is a path to living fully, with clarity, balance, and an unwavering connection to yourself and the world around you. Solitude reveals the richness of being present with yourself, teaching the profound truth that fulfillment comes from within. Yet, even in the quiet, one element can persistently disrupt peace: the untrained mind. Thoughts, emotions, and mental chatter often pull us away from clarity, scattering our focus and intensifying suffering. Buddhist teachings illuminate a path to freedom from this inner turmoil. Mastering the mind is not about silencing it, but learning to guide it with awareness and wisdom. This practice allows you to engage with life from a place of calm and strength, rather than being ruled by the fleeting whims of thought. The mind is powerful, capable of shaping your reality in ways both profound and subtle. When left unchecked, it can amplify fears, fuel doubts, and distort perceptions. However, this same mind, when cultivated with care, can become a source of clarity, resilience, and peace. The first step in this transformation is awareness. Recognizing how your thoughts influence your emotions and actions is key to understanding the patterns that create unnecessary suffering. This awareness is not about judgment, but about observing with curiosity, creating space to choose how you respond. Detachment from thoughts is essential to mastering the mind. This does not mean suppressing or ignoring thoughts, but understanding that they are not inherently true or permanent. Thoughts arise, linger, and fade, much like clouds in the sky. By observing them without attachment, you create a buffer between yourself and the mental narratives that often dictate your mood and actions. This practice allows you to engage with your thoughts selectively, giving attention only to those that align with your values and intentions. Emotional regulation is another cornerstone of mastering the mind. Emotions often arise in response to thoughts, and when left unchecked, they can spiral into overwhelming states. By grounding yourself in the present, you can interrupt this cycle, returning to a place of balance. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for this purpose, helping you to anchor your awareness in the moment rather than being swept away by emotional waves. Over time, this practice builds emotional resilience, allowing you to navigate challenges with greater ease. The practice of mindfulness also extends to how you perceive external events. Much of the mind's turmoil comes from resisting reality or attaching meaning to things beyond your control. By accepting life as it unfolds, you reduce the mental friction that creates stress and dissatisfaction. This acceptance is not passive. It is an active choice to respond with wisdom rather than react impulsively. It allows you to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than as obstacles to your peace. Cultivating focus is another essential aspect of managing the mind. A wandering mind is often a restless mind, and learning to direct your attention can significantly reduce mental clutter. Practices such as meditation or focused breathing train the mind to concentrate, enhancing your ability to stay present and engaged. This focus is not about forcing the mind into submission, but about gently guiding it toward what matters most. With practice, this ability to focus becomes a source of strength and clarity, empowering you to navigate life's complexities with greater confidence. Perspective is a powerful tool for calming the mind. When faced with challenges, the mind often magnifies problems, making them seem insurmountable. Shifting your perspective can reveal new solutions or reduce the perceived weight of a situation. This shift is not about denying difficulties, but about viewing them with a balanced lens. It reminds you that no single moment defines your entire life, and that change is always possible. Gratitude also plays a role in quieting the mind. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, you reduce the mental chatter of dissatisfaction. Gratitude grounds you in the present, reminding you of the abundance in your life. This practice shifts the mind from a state of longing to a state of appreciation, fostering a sense of contentment that counteracts restlessness. The mind's influence extends beyond emotions to actions. Impulsive reactions often stem from untrained mental habits, leading to decisions that create regret or conflict. Developing self-awareness helps you pause before reacting, allowing you to respond with intention rather than reflex. This pause is a moment of power, where you choose a path aligned with your values rather than being driven by fleeting emotions or assumptions. Letting go of perfectionism is another way to free the mind. The pursuit of an unattainable ideal often fuels self-criticism and stress. By embracing imperfection, you release the pressure to meet unrealistic standards, allowing yourself to grow and learn without the burden of judgment. This mindset fosters a sense of self-compassion, reducing the mental noise that often accompanies feelings of inadequacy. The teachings of Buddhism emphasize the importance of understanding the root causes of mental suffering. Many of these causes stem from attachment, whether to outcomes, possessions, or identities. Letting go of these attachments creates mental space, freeing you from the endless cycle of craving and dissatisfaction. This practice is not about giving up desires, but about approaching them with balance and awareness, ensuring they do not dominate your thoughts or actions. Developing a compassionate mind also transforms how you relate to others. Thoughts of judgment or resentment often cloud relationships, creating unnecessary tension. By cultivating compassion, you replace these thoughts with understanding and kindness. This shift not only enhances your interactions with others, but also reduces the mental burden of carrying negative emotions. Compassion becomes a bridge, connecting you to others while maintaining your own inner peace. The power of rituals and routines cannot be overlooked in mastering the mind. Daily practices such as meditation, journaling, or mindful movement create anchors that ground you amid life's uncertainties. These rituals provide a sense of stability, helping you to center your mind and reconnect with your intentions. Over time, they become a source of strength, guiding you through challenges and reinforcing your mental clarity. Forgiveness is another practice that liberates the mind. Holding on to anger or resentment ties you to the past, creating a constant undercurrent of tension. Forgiveness is not about condoning harm, but about releasing its hold on your thoughts. It frees you to move forward, unburdened by the weight of grievances. This act of letting go creates space for healing and growth, restoring your mental equilibrium. The journey to mastering the mind is ongoing, requiring patience and commitment. There will be moments of progress and setbacks, but each effort strengthens your ability to navigate the complexities of life with greater ease. This process is not about achieving a perfect state, but about developing a harmonious relationship with your mind, where thoughts serve rather than control you. The mind, when nurtured and trained, becomes a powerful ally in creating a life of balance and fulfillment. By practicing awareness, detachment, and intention, you transform how you experience the world and yourself. This mastery doesn't eliminate challenges, but equips you to face them with resilience and grace. It allows you to engage with life fully, from a place of calm and clarity, free from the turmoil of an untrained mind. Through these practices, you discover that the mind is not a cage, but a canvas, capable of shaping a reality that reflects your deepest peace and wisdom. Mastering the mind reveals a deeper truth about life's complexity and simplicity. It shows that peace is not the absence of challenges, but the ability to meet them with clarity and balance. Yet, understanding the mind is only one layer of the wisdom offered by Buddhism. Beneath this lies a profound framework that serves as the cornerstone of the Buddha's teachings, the Four Noble Truths. These truths are not abstract ideas, but practical insights into the nature of human suffering and the path to liberation. They provide a lens through which we can view our experiences with greater awareness and purpose, guiding us toward a life of deeper fulfillment. The Four Noble Truths are both universal and personal. They reflect the shared reality of human existence while offering a path unique to each individual's journey. The first truth acknowledges the presence of suffering in life. It is not a pessimistic statement, but a recognition of reality. Life is filled with moments of loss, disappointment, and pain. By naming this suffering, we begin to confront it directly rather than avoiding or denying its presence. This recognition is not about dwelling on the negative, but about creating a foundation of honesty from which growth can begin. The second truth identifies the root cause of suffering: craving or attachment. Craving takes many forms, from the desire for material possessions to the need for validation or control. This longing ties our happiness to external conditions, creating a cycle of dissatisfaction when those conditions are not met. The mind clings to what it wants and resists what it dislikes, leading to a state of constant struggle. Recognizing this pattern is a powerful step toward breaking free from its grip. It invites us to examine our desires and attachments with curiosity and compassion, uncovering the ways they contribute to our unease. The third truth offers hope, the possibility of ending suffering. This cessation is not about escaping life's challenges, but about transforming our relationship with them. It is the liberation that comes from letting go of craving and attachment, allowing us to experience life with greater ease and joy. This freedom is not a distant ideal, but a tangible state that can be cultivated through practice and awareness. It is the space where peace replaces struggle and contentment arises naturally from within. The fourth truth provides the path to this liberation, the Noble Eightfold Path. This path is not a rigid set of rules, but a guide to living with wisdom, ethics, and mindfulness. Each aspect of the path complements the others, creating a holistic approach to well-being. It encourages us to align our thoughts, actions, and intentions with principles that foster harmony and clarity. This alignment is not about perfection, but about progress, a continuous effort to grow and refine how we live. Understanding the Four Noble Truths requires more than intellectual comprehension. It demands experiential insight. Each truth invites reflection and application in daily life. Acknowledging suffering helps us face challenges with honesty and resilience. Recognizing the causes of suffering teaches us to let go of habits and attachments that no longer serve us. Embracing the possibility of liberation inspires hope and determination. Following the path offers practical tools for navigating life with wisdom and grace. The Four Noble Truths also illuminate the interconnectedness of life. They show that suffering is not an isolated experience, but part of the human condition. This shared reality fosters compassion, helping us see others with greater empathy and understanding. When we recognize that others, like us, struggle with craving and attachment, we approach them with kindness rather than judgment. This perspective transforms relationships, creating connections based on mutual respect and support. Applying the Four Noble Truths also deepens self-awareness. They invite us to explore the layers of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, uncovering patterns that contribute to our suffering. This exploration is not about self-criticism, but about self-discovery. It reveals the potential for change and growth within us, empowering us to take steps toward a more peaceful and fulfilling life. The truths also encourage a balanced approach to life. They remind us that joy and sorrow, gain and loss, are natural parts of existence. By embracing this balance, we reduce the extremes of elation and despair, finding a steady ground from which to engage with the world. This balance does not numb us to experience, but enriches it, allowing us to savor life's beauty while accepting its challenges. Meditation is a powerful practice for exploring the Four Noble Truths. In meditation, we create a space to observe the mind without judgment, seeing its patterns with clarity. This practice helps us recognize the causes of our suffering and develop the mindfulness needed to follow the path. Meditation is not an escape, but a return to the present, where the truths of existence unfold with clarity and depth. The Four Noble Truths also challenge us to take responsibility for our happiness. They teach that while suffering may arise from external conditions, our response to it is within our control. This responsibility is empowering, showing us that we are not victims of circumstance, but active participants in our well-being. It inspires us to make choices that align with our values and aspirations, shaping a life that reflects our deepest truths. These teachings are not about adhering to dogma, but about discovering what resonates within. The Four Noble Truths are a mirror, reflecting both the struggles and the possibilities of human life. They guide us to look with honesty and outward with compassion, creating a path that is both personal and universal. The transformative power of the Four Noble Truths lies in their simplicity and depth. They do not promise an easy life, but offer the tools to navigate life's complexities with wisdom and grace. By integrating these truths into our daily existence, we create a foundation for lasting peace and joy, grounded in the profound understanding of what it means to be human. Through this practice, we move closer to the liberation that lies not in escaping life, but in fully embracing it. The Four Noble Truths uncover the profound wisdom that suffering is not an enemy, but a teacher, guiding us toward awareness, transformation, and peace. This foundation naturally leads to a practical question. How do we carry this understanding into everyday life, especially in moments of stress, uncertainty, or hardship? Maintaining calm and positivity amidst life's chaos may seem elusive, but Buddhist teachings offer timeless guidance. They show that serenity is not found in controlling the external world, but in mastering the inner landscape. Calmness begins with self-awareness. Much of the turmoil in life stems from unexamined reactions. When emotions like anger, fear, or frustration arise, they can dominate thoughts and actions, leading to tension and conflict. Awareness invites you to pause and observe these emotions as they arise, without judgment. This pause creates a space between feeling and reaction, allowing you to choose a response aligned with your values, rather than being swept away by impulsive reactions. Positivity is cultivated through perspective. Challenges and difficulties are inevitable, but how they are perceived shapes their impact. Viewing obstacles as opportunities for growth rather than as threats shifts the mind from resistance to curiosity. This perspective does not ignore pain, but frames it as part of a larger journey, one that includes learning, resilience, and eventual peace. Buddhist wisdom encourages seeing the impermanence of all things, reminding us that even the most difficult moments will pass. Mindfulness is a cornerstone of staying calm and positive. By grounding yourself in the present moment, you break free from the mental spirals of regret over the past or worry about the future. The present is where life unfolds, where solutions can be found, and where peace resides. Mindfulness teaches you to engage fully with what is here and now, reducing the noise of unnecessary mental chatter and creating clarity. Gratitude is a powerful tool for fostering positivity. Focusing on what is good and abundant in your life shifts attention away from what is lacking. Gratitude does not deny challenges, but balances them by highlighting the blessings that coexist alongside struggles. This practice nurtures a sense of sufficiency and contentment, reducing the craving and dissatisfaction that often disrupt calmness. Compassion, both for yourself and others, is essential in maintaining inner peace. Self-compassion softens the harshness of self-criticism, replacing it with understanding and kindness. This gentleness allows you to navigate setbacks without being overwhelmed by guilt or disappointment. Extending compassion to others fosters connection and reduces the mental burden of resentment or judgment. It transforms relationships, creating harmony that supports a calm and positive mindset. Letting go of control is another vital practice. Much stress comes from trying to manage or predict every aspect of life. Buddhist teachings emphasize the importance of surrendering to the flow of life, accepting what cannot be changed while taking thoughtful action where possible. This balance reduces the friction of resistance, allowing you to move through life with greater ease. Breathing techniques offer immediate tools for calming the mind and body. Focusing on the breath anchors attention, slows the heart rate, and creates a sense of stability. Deep, conscious breaths signal the nervous system to relax, providing a simple yet effective way to regain composure in moments of stress. Over time, this practice trains the body and mind to respond to challenges with calm rather than panic. Detachment from outcomes fosters both calmness and positivity. By releasing the need for specific results, you free yourself from the anxiety of unmet expectations. This does not mean giving up on goals, but approaching them with flexibility and openness. When effort is valued over outcome, the journey becomes a source of joy rather than a source of stress. Simplicity in life also contributes to inner peace. Reducing unnecessary commitments, possessions, or distractions creates space for what truly matters. This simplicity extends beyond the physical to the mental, encouraging you to focus on thoughts and actions that align with your values. A simplified life is one with fewer sources of stress and more opportunities for joy. Meditation deepens the ability to stay calm and positive. By sitting in stillness, you train the mind to observe without attachment, developing resilience against the fluctuations of life. Meditation enhances awareness, focus, and emotional balance, creating a strong foundation for navigating challenges with grace. This practice is not about escaping reality, but engaging with it from a place of clarity and strength. Engaging with nature fosters calmness and positivity. Time spent outdoors, surrounded by the natural world, grounds and rejuvenates the mind and spirit. Nature's rhythms remind you of the interconnectedness and impermanence of life, encouraging a sense of peace and perspective. Whether it's a walk in the park or listening to the sound of rain, these moments of connection to nature soothe the soul. Forgiveness is another practice that supports inner peace. Holding on to anger or resentment ties you to the pain of the past, creating ongoing tension. Forgiveness is not about condoning harm, but about freeing yourself from its hold. It releases the mental energy tied up in grievances, creating space for healing and renewal. Building a daily routine that includes moments of stillness and intention supports a calm and positive outlook. These routines provide anchors in the chaos of daily life, grounding you in practices that foster balance and clarity. Whether it's a morning meditation, journaling, or a mindful cup of tea, these small acts create a rhythm that nurtures peace. Perspective on failure is also key to maintaining positivity. Viewing failure as a natural part of growth rather than as a setback shifts the narrative from defeat to opportunity. This mindset encourages resilience and optimism, showing you that mistakes are not the end, but a step on the path to success. Connection with others also plays a role in staying positive. Meaningful relationships provide support, inspiration, and a sense of belonging. Sharing joy, offering support, or simply being present with others strengthens the bonds that uplift and sustain you. These connections remind you that you are part of something larger, reducing feelings of isolation. The journey to staying calm and positive is one of practice and patience. It is not about erasing all challenges or achieving a perfect state, but about developing habits and perspectives that guide you through life with greater ease and joy. Each moment of awareness, each act of kindness, and each breath taken with intention builds a foundation of inner peace. This foundation allows you to engage with life fully, meeting its highs and lows with a steady heart and an open mind. Through these practices, you discover that calmness and positivity are not distant ideals, but choices available to you in every moment. They are the fruits of a life lived with intention, compassion, and mindfulness, grounded in the timeless wisdom of Buddhism. Maintaining calmness and positivity fosters a foundation of resilience and clarity. It aligns actions with wisdom and cultivates an inner peace that radiates outward. Yet, while tranquility strengthens the mind, dignity fortifies the spirit. Acting with dignity is more than external behavior. It is the embodiment of self-respect, compassion, and unwavering principles. Buddhist teachings illuminate the path to dignified living, offering timeless wisdom that enhances how we interact with the world and ourselves. Dignity begins with self-awareness. Recognizing your intrinsic worth is the cornerstone of acting with honor. It is not rooted in arrogance or superiority, but in understanding that your value is inherent, unaffected by external achievements or failures. This awareness fosters confidence and humility, creating a balance where neither ego nor insecurity dictates behavior. Dignity grows when you act in alignment with this truth, treating yourself with kindness and respect in every situation. Compassion is inseparable from dignity. It extends not only to others, but also inward, guiding how you respond to your own shortcomings. Harsh self-criticism undermines dignity, while compassion nurtures growth and resilience. This perspective does not excuse mistakes, but sees them as opportunities for learning. With compassion, you build a foundation of self-acceptance that allows you to approach life with grace and strength. Respect for others is a natural extension of dignity. It recognizes the shared humanity in all people, regardless of their actions or status. This respect does not condone harmful behavior, but sees beyond it, acknowledging the inherent worth of every individual. Acting with dignity means treating others with kindness and fairness, even when faced with hostility. This choice reflects strength, showing that your actions are guided by principles rather than reactions. Mindfulness is key to cultivating dignity. It enables you to pause and reflect before responding, ensuring that your actions align with your values. In moments of conflict or pressure, mindfulness prevents impulsive reactions that can compromise your integrity. It allows you to navigate challenges with clarity, choosing responses that uphold your dignity and contribute to harmony. Letting go of the need for validation is another step toward dignified living. When actions are driven by the desire for approval, they often stray from authenticity. Dignity flourishes when you act according to your principles, regardless of external opinions. This independence does not mean disregarding others, but placing your inner truth above fleeting judgments. It creates a sense of freedom and stability, allowing you to remain grounded in the face of praise or criticism. Humility is a hallmark of dignity. It acknowledges that no one is perfect, and that wisdom comes from continuous learning. Humility does not diminish your worth, but enhances it, creating space for growth and connection. It fosters openness to new perspectives and the willingness to admit mistakes, strengthening relationships and deepening your understanding of yourself and the world. Dignity is also reflected in how you handle adversity. Life's challenges test your character, offering opportunities to act with strength and integrity. Facing difficulties with courage and composure demonstrates a commitment to your principles, even when circumstances are unfavorable. This resilience inspires others and reinforces your own sense of self-respect. Patience is another key element of dignified living. It allows you to navigate life's complexities without rushing or reacting impulsively. Patience creates space for thoughtful decisions and fosters a calm, steady presence. This steadiness is not passive but active, showing that you can remain centered even amidst uncertainty or difficulty. Integrity is the foundation of dignity. It means living in alignment with your values, regardless of external pressures or temptations. Integrity requires honesty, not only with others, but with yourself. It involves acknowledging your intentions and ensuring that your actions reflect them. This consistency builds trust, both within yourself and in your relationships, creating a life that feels authentic and meaningful. Generosity enhances dignity by shifting focus from self-interest to the well-being of others. Acts of kindness and giving reflect a sense of abundance and connection, strengthening bonds and uplifting those around you. Generosity does not diminish your worth but amplifies it, showing that dignity is not about self-preservation but about contributing to the greater good. Gratitude also plays a role in dignified living. It fosters a sense of appreciation for the opportunities and relationships in your life, reducing feelings of entitlement or dissatisfaction. Gratitude shifts your perspective, encouraging you to approach life with humility and joy. This mindset enriches your interactions and reinforces your sense of balance and peace. Communication is another avenue where dignity is expressed. Speaking with honesty, respect, and clarity fosters understanding and connection. Words have the power to build or break, and choosing them carefully reflects a commitment to integrity and kindness. Listening with the same respect enhances this dynamic, showing that you value others' perspectives as much as your own. Boundaries are essential for maintaining dignity. They define how you allow others to treat you and ensure that your energy is directed toward what aligns with your values. Setting boundaries is not about exclusion, but about self-respect. It protects your well-being and creates a foundation for healthy, balanced relationships. Simplicity in life also supports dignified living. When you let go of excess distractions or superficial pursuits, you create space for what truly matters. This focus reduces stress and fosters clarity, allowing you to engage with life and others from a place of authenticity and peace. Forgiveness is a powerful expression of dignity. Holding on to anger or resentment ties you to the actions of others, diminishing your freedom. Forgiveness is not about condoning harm, but about releasing its hold on your mind and heart. This act of letting go restores your peace and allows you to move forward with strength and clarity. The practice of reflection deepens your ability to live with dignity. Taking time to examine your actions, intentions, and growth fosters self-awareness and accountability. This practice is not about perfection, but about continuous improvement, ensuring that your choices align with your principles and aspirations. Dignity is not a static state, but an ongoing practice. It evolves with each choice, each moment of awareness, and each act of kindness. It requires patience, commitment, and courage, but the rewards are profound. Living with dignity creates a life of balance, harmony, and purpose, grounded in the timeless wisdom of Buddhist teachings. Through this practice, you discover that dignity is not something you seek. It is something you embody, a reflection of your deepest truths and highest aspirations. Life's uncomfortable truths are not meant to unsettle us. They are here to free us. Each truth, from letting go of ego to embracing impermanence, teaches us to shed illusions and rediscover the profound simplicity of joy. These teachings remind us that happiness isn't something we chase, but something we cultivate within, by accepting life as it is and aligning ourselves with its flow. They challenge us to see suffering not as an enemy, but as a guide, to seek validation not from others, but from our own sense of integrity, and to find strength in the act of letting go. As you reflect on these truths, consider how they apply to your own journey. Where can you embrace change more gracefully? How can you let go of the unnecessary to make space for contentment? Each small step toward acceptance, mindfulness, and gratitude brings you closer to a life of true happiness, a happiness rooted in freedom, peace, and purpose. Let's keep this conversation alive. Share in the comments which truth resonated with you the most, or how you plan to incorporate these teachings into your life. Your story might inspire someone else on their path. If you found value in this exploration, consider subscribing to the channel. Together, we can continue to unravel the wisdom of Buddhism and other timeless teachings, bringing more clarity, balance, and joy to our lives. Click subscribe, hit the bell for updates, and join this growing community of seekers. Let's walk this path together. See you in the next video.